for a better day in October in Edmonton. At Commonwealth Stadium, the Edmonton Eskimos play their final game of the regular season, a chance to clinch first place and a bye into the West Division Final. The weather is absolutely outstanding. 7 degrees, the wind at 22 kilometers an hour. The natural grass here is dry. The weather office was saying there might be snow today. They were into the good stuff when they made that forecast, because it won't be coming today. Adam Reid on the sidelines with his BC Lions. BC and Toronto, the only two teams in the league this year that have not lost 3 games in a row. The Lions trying to avoid that fate this afternoon. He was the offensive coordinator for the Edmonton Eskimos when they won the Grey Cup in 1993 under Ron Lancaster as the head coach. Ron Lancaster looking for his first place finish in the West since his first year as the head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos in 1991. His team has finished second in 5 straight years since then. The Edmonton Eskimos, thanks to Calgary's loss yesterday, will finish no worse than second in the West, which means that for the 12th consecutive year and the 21st time in the last 25 years, the Edmonton Eskimos will play a home playoff game. Brett Anderson will kick it off for the BC Lions. Eric Blunt on the left. Henry the Gizmo Williams on the right are back to receive. Brett Anderson is one of 3 kickers the BC Lions will use today. He'll kick off. Luke Pasaglia will do the field goals. And Julio Caravana will punt. A big crowd expected this afternoon, and we are underway at Commonwealth Stadium. This is Henry Williams from the 16-yard line. The Gizmo aiming for the sidelines, forced down there at the 35. And the stop is made on the play by Nick Richards. A 19-yard return. Danny McManus and the Edmonton offense will go to work. Danny McManus threw 5 interceptions in the first meeting between these two teams. A loss for the Edmonton Eskimos here at Commonwealth Stadium. Changes in the offensive backfield for Edmonton. Tony Burst, number 34, is back in the backfield after missing 5 weeks. He's joined by the usual squad. Brown and Blair outside, Gordon and Flutie inside. This is the offensive line anchored by Rod Conop, playing his Eskimo record 273rd game. On first down, the give goes to Eric Blunt, and this has been a problem for Edmonton in the running game. Blunt crosses the 35 for maybe a gain of 1, but the Edmonton Eskimos have the league's worst running attack.
Well, they do have the worst running attack, Gord, but they're coming off a pretty good game. Eric Blunt versus Winnipeg, 22 carries for 145 yards, his best as an Eskimo, so not surprising that Ron Lancaster wants to go right with it early in the game.
Blunt's 100-yard rushing game last week was the first by an Edmonton player this year. Second and long, McManus from the shotgun. Over the middle he goes, and incomplete. He was looking there to Robert Gordon. And quickly, the Edmonton Eskimos are 2-out, and Ron Lancaster will send the punting unit up.
Well, Robert Gordon had found the soft spot in front of the safety Greg Frères and was wide open on the plate. Danny McManus just couldn't deliver the football, so early punting situation for Edmonton. But the good news for Ron Lancaster and Eddie Brown is that they didn't turn the ball over. That's been a big problem for Edmonton versus the BC Lions.
Sean Fleming to punt. Took a long time and now hangs it up high. This is Shalon Baker, the former Edmonton Eskimo, and they've got a hold of him. Maurice Miller got a piece as Baker gets out across the 35 for a return of 5 yards. Damon Allen, his 4,324 passing yards, a career high for him in a single season. Allen is now the 5th-ranked passer in Canadian Football League history, one of 7 quarterbacks to throw 200 touchdown passes in his career. Changes, too, for the BC Lions. Sean Millington, who has accounted for nearly half this team's rushing yards, is out of the lineup. Rookie Brad Yamoka takes his place. In the offensive line, he's only Jamie Terrace starting in this game where he started at the beginning of the year. Damon Allen pump fake, and that pass incomplete over the head of the intended target, Nick Mazzoli.
Well, Damon Allen, we talked about it in the opening, Gord, is comfortable at Commonwealth Stadium. He's played in 209 regular season games, and a third of those games have been right here on the natural grass. He loves to play here. He's comfortable here, which is why he's had success against Edmonton this season.
Damon Allen, a 2-time Grey Cup most valuable player for the Edmonton Eskimos, now trying to keep his team alive in the race for first in the West. Allen on the quarterback draw, still going. Allen crosses midfield down to the Edmonton 54-yard line. It'll be a first down for the BC Lions, and Allen appears to be shaken up. The pickup is 18 yards.
Well, Damon Allen is having a pretty good season rushing the football. And he, in fact, at the end of this year, career-wise, will finish in 4th place all time. That's a pretty good job by quarterback. You think of the names in that list, George Reed and guys like that. Damon Allen's having another good year rushing the football.
Here's Corey Philpott on 1st down, and nothing doing for Philpott as he is wrapped up immediately by Leroy Blue. It'll be a loss of a yard for Corey Philpott, who said, I want the ball more, and Adam Reed has said, well, we'll get it to him and see what he does with it.
Yeah, Corey Philpott, in a lot of running situations, will be in the spot where Sean Millington played. Sean Millington was questionable this week. He's got a sore foot. The swelling went down during the week, but not enough to have him play in this game. Of course, Adam Reed would like to have him down the stretch. So Corey Philpott will carry the mail out of the backfield for BC today.
He goes to the sidelines now as BC goes to 6 receivers on 2nd and long. Allen from the shotgun. Lots of time, looking deep for Alfred Jackson, and the pass is well over his head. Tommy Henry was there on the coverage, but Alfred Action Jackson, who once torched the Edmonton Eskimos in a big way, doesn't do it there. Alfred Jackson had the 3rd best career receiving game in CFL history, win a Blue Bomber, but that time Damon Allen couldn't hit him.
Well, and Alfred Jackson had inside position on Tommy Henry, a good matchup for the BC Lions. In the first game Jackson played against Edmonton, he had 100 yards, so Allen wants to get him the ball.
Julio Caravana with a good punt sends Henry Williams back to the 2. Here comes the gizmo. And he does a good job to get across the 10 out to about the 13-yard line. Nick Richards once again down on the stop. No score between the Eskimos and Lions on the CFL Live on TSN. Danny McManus, a Grey Cup champion with the BC Lions, now trying to get the Edmonton Eskimos a free pass into the Western Final in 3 weeks' time. And of course, 4 weeks from today, the Grey Cup game will be played in this stadium.
There's an interesting stat I looked up on Danny McManus. Everyone talks about his interceptions and how that's been a problem through his career. And Danny McManus this year has 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, so the ratio is on the right side for him. Look at it's the first time as a starter that Danny McManus has more touchdowns than interceptions.
Yeah, Danny McManus, 20 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Be the first time in 5 years he finished in the positive in that ratio. And of course, if not for the 5 interceptions in the 1 game against BC, he'd be in a lot better shape. On 1st down, McManus swings out of the backfield. This is Tony Burse, and look at Burse. Welcome back, Tony Burse, who puts his head down and rolls right over BC's Kelly Lockbaugh.
Well, Tony Burse back in the lineup for Mike Sellers. You talked about it in the introductions, Gord, but this is what Tony Burse gives you. He loves to be the hammer, puts his head down, and Kelly Lockbaugh, his first chance to meet Tony Burse this afternoon, and they'll meet each other a lot during this football game. But Burse gives Edmonton a lot of different weapons.
Burse out for 5 weeks. Flags are down. McManus with a free play over the middle. Robert Gordon has the catch and a 1st down. Stop is made by Don Wilson, but not before Robert Gordon gets up to the 33-yard line. The pickup was 17 yards. Looked like BC was offside.
Offside. BC number 3. Decline. 1st down.
David Benefield moved, and the gain to Robert Gordon will stand.
It was a good read, Gord, by Danny McManus, because the BC Lions were in man defense, and Kelly Lockbaugh, the middle linebacker, flowed to the outside to cover Blunt. When he did that, that opened up the middle, and Robert Gordon found the soft spot.
1st down. McManus on play action. Sends it out for Eddie Brown. Brown with 1 man to beat, but that man, Leonard Humphreys, made the stop. Mark it as a gain of 1 for Eddie Brown as he's bottled up by the BC defense.
Well, this is an attacking BC defense. 15 turnovers against Edmonton. 1 change. David Mieva back in the linebacking core for the injured B.J. Gallus. And in the secondary, the veteran Don Wilson will start at the halfback, and he leads the BC Lions with 4 interceptions on the season. Damian Lyons having a great year. He has a couple of picks.
2nd and long. McManus, quick dart over the middle, and the ball comes out. Eric Blunt would have had a 1st down, but he couldn't hang on, and the Edmonton Eskimos will once again be forced to punt.
Well, BC has been blitzing Edmonton early. Greg Ferris is going to come up, number 40, to the right of your screen. He's going to be in charge of covering Blunt. Blunt gets inside, and Ferris slips. But Danny McManus doesn't deliver the football right on target, and Blunt can't go down and pick it up. Right read, just the throw wasn't there.
Sean Fleming, who's had a tough year punting the football, enters this game as the lowest-ranked punter in the Canadian Football League, but he's been giving that subject a lot more attention of late. Corey Philpott, one of those back deep to receive. The other man back deep is Shalon Baker, who was the Rookie of the Year as an Edmonton Eskimo 2 seasons ago. And Baker, who's had an up-and-down year, started with Edmonton, was sent to Winnipeg at the start of the year, then released by them. BC picked him up. He's been on the practice roster the last 3 weeks for the BC Lions. Anxious, and he said eager for revenge against the Edmonton Eskimos, the team that let him go at the start of the year.
Yeah, it's interesting. The 2 games that Shalon Baker played against former team Winnipeg and Edmonton. Started the season in Winnipeg, and he played for BC in the Winnipeg game, had 1 catch for 41 yards. And the reason he's in the lineup, or one of the reasons he's in the lineup for BC, is his special teams abilities, and that's why he's back receiving this punt.
Sean Fleming punting into the wind here in the first quarter. No score between the Eskimos and Lions. Fleming with a high wobbly kick taken by Baker down to the 40-yard line. He'll watch it bounce out of bounds. A 34-yard punt and no return. The Lions have the ball when we come back to Edmonton. Back in Edmonton, where the wind is whipping, or is it? For more, here's Ken Chillibeck.
Thanks, Gord. It is. I talked to Sean Fleming before the game, and that was the big concern he had, because the wind swirls around in here. Could be an indication of that first kick of his. It's going to be a factor probably later in the game. He said apparently it's supposed to gust up to about 30 kilometers an hour. Gord, back to you.
What's interesting about that is look at the flags on the goalposts. They're not blowing as much. Commonwealth Stadium's field is below grade. In other words, it's below ground level. So the flags at the top may be whipping, but the ones in the goalposts aren't, which means once a kick gets above ground level, the wind really knocks it down.
Well, that's probably why Adam Rita decided to defer to the second half. The wind is a factor in this football game, like Ken Chillibeck reported, so he wants the choice in the second half.
Damon Allen and the Lions begin at their 41-yard line. No score in the football game. Allen, quick drop, sets it up for Alfred Jackson, and the pass is incomplete as Jackson couldn't hang on. We mentioned a moment ago that Alfred Jackson had one of the great days in CFL history. How about 7 catches for 308 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Edmonton Eskimos, the day that Matt Dunnigan broke the CFL record for passing yards in a game, 713 yards in 1994.
Yeah, it was with Winnipeg, and you know that Adam Rita wants to get his big play man the ball. That's Alfred Jackson. I bet you Ron Lancaster pulled that old film out from 94 to show his DBs.
Second down, Allen from the shotgun. Had time, now he'll take off, and he's got room. Allen puts his head down, gets out close to midfield, a gain of 14 yards on a first down for one of the league's most elusive quarterbacks.
You see how Damon Allen ran into traffic there and didn't hook slide? Damon Allen has hurt his knee this year a couple of times, and always because he's tried to hook slide and that leg has got caught. I think he's just decided, forget it. When I go take off and run with the football, I'm just going to do like I've always done, run like a running back, and probably have less problems with injuries.
Damon Allen now 2 carries for 31 yards. He's also BC's leading rusher in the 2 wins over the Edmonton Eskimos. Now they set it up for Shalon Baker, the same receiver screen, and then the same result. In fact, a worse result since they threw it to Alfred Jackson. That's a loss of a couple.
Well, up front for the Edmonton defense, Derek McCready's having one of his best seasons, has 4 sacks on the year. Willie Pless, speaking of best seasons, could surpass his own best total for tackles with 11 in the regular season. Continues. Trent Brown is the safety. Malcolm Frank and Kavis Reed are on the corners. Kavis Reed, 5 interceptions. Glenn Rogers, 6 on the season, which is 2nd in the CFL.
Only the Toronto Argonauts have allowed fewer points than this Edmonton Eskimo defense. Second down. Allen all day looking for Jackson. It bounces up. It's intercepted by Willie Pless. And Willie Pless has a convoy in front of him. Now he laterals it off. Tommy Henry with the ball. He gets inside the 25, down the 24-yard line. Turnovers, which have killed the Edmonton Eskimos against BC, are a big factor for the Eskimos here.
One of the problems in the play receivers should not be in exactly the same spot. You're going to see both Alfred Jackson and Mike Trevathan standing side by side. That causes the congestion. The ball tips up, and Willie Pless gets the easy interception with a little lateral at the end of it to Tommy Henry. Turnovers have been a problem for Edmonton in this game. Willie Pless gets one for his team to turn things around momentum-wise.
Third interception of the year for Willie Pless. Now McManus sets it up for Eddie Brown. And again, Leonard Humphreys grabs a hold of Eddie Brown to limit what might have been a big gain. And the pickup is maybe a yard. Eddie Brown not having the kind of year he's used to. He does not have a touchdown catch since week 6 of the season. Of course, he's battled health problems. 784 yards receiving for him, though, and 3 touchdown catches. And, of course, the highlight reel catch in last year's Grey Cup game.
Yeah, Eddie Brown, it's tough to come back when you haven't been running. He's missed a bunch of games this season and slowly got himself back in the lineup.
Now McManus looking for the end zone for Darren Flutie. The pass is out of his reach. And so the Eskimos will try for 3 off the Willie Pless interception.
Well, it's called sudden change, though, Gordon. The BC defense right now has come out and responded. Willie Pless comes up with a big interception for Edmonton. Tons of momentum on their side, but they can't capitalize and get 7 points out of it. So it's almost turned into a victory for the BC Lion defense because they hold them 2-0.
Fleming will try this field goal from 29 yards out. And he's had his problems this year, but inside the 30 has not been among them. He's 18 of 20 inside the 30 this year. From the 29, with Kemp holding, Fleming puts it up and good. And Willie Pless's interception leads to the first points of the football game. The Eskimos with a 3-0 lead on the BC Lions. The CFL Live returns to Edmonton after this. 4 times the CFL's top defensive player, including the last 3 years in a row, and Willie Pless has the biggest defensive play of this game so far, the interception of Damon Allen that set up the Edmonton field goal. Now Sean Fleming will kick it off deep to the BC Lions. There's Shalon Baker. Back deep with Corey Philpott. And Fleming kicks it to Baker from the 20. Baker looking for some room and still going out across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. Maurice Miller makes the stop, a 21-yard return of the 53-yard kickoff. Well, Willie Pless is a guy you'll find in the stats big time. He leads the league in tackles. In fact, he has 27 more tackles than anyone else. But how about 6 quarterback sacks, 3 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and then to go with it, a touchdown catch and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, this is what I like about it here. Look at this. He's got 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Eric Blunt, the starting tailback for Edmonton, has not found the end zone this year. Willie Pless has more touchdowns than the starting tailback.
On first down, this is Brad Yamoka, the rookie fullback, taking the place of Sean Millington, and Yamoka barrels into Edmonton territory down to the 49-yard line. And Yamoka with a pickup of 17 yards.
Well, I asked Corey Philpott about Brad Yamoka. I said, he's actually replacing Sean Millington, but you'll likely get most of the running plays. And he said, no, Brad Yamoka will get the odd play because Edmonton doesn't think that he will. When Yamoka comes in, the Edmonton defense will be thinking pass, so we will throw a couple in to Yamoka.
Now Allen on play action. And looking to the sidelines, hard to tell if that was for Nick Mazzoli or Mike Trevathan. It kind of split the difference and falls incomplete.
Well, Damon Allen has had some problems hooking up, throwing the football early in this game, but because of the coverage from the Edmonton secondary. So far, they've done a nice job of jamming the BC defense, mixing man and zone defense up, so Damon Allen has had some problems throwing the football.
For the first week of the season, Damon Allen is not the league's #1 rated passer. Doug Flutie overtook him last week, but Allen held that spot every week up until this. Now on second down, Allen from the shotgun. Looking deep again for Jackson, and again it falls incomplete. Glenn Rogers Jr. was back there on the coverage, so the Allen to Jackson connection has misfired a couple of times, and BC will be forced to punt.
I watched Alfred Jackson on that play, and it looked to me like he was running what's called a read route. Meaning when he takes off and runs his pattern, he decides what kind of pattern he's going to run depending on where the defensive back lines up. He made about 4 moves down the field. Damon Allen really had no shot to decide where he was going to end up and threw incompletion.
Caravata aiming for the sidelines, trying to keep it away from the Eskimo return man, and Don Blair watches it roll out of bounds at the 9-yard line. Good kick by Caravata.
This is called a read route, Gordon. What happens is he has the option, Alfred Jackson, to run corner. He can either run corner or run post, depending on what the secondary gives him. Now watch the moves he makes down the field. He's going to run to the corner first, then he goes back to the post. He's not really sure which way he's going to go, and neither is Damon Allen. The ball bounces on the turf because of it.
Damon Allen, by the way, in the football game is 1 of 7 passing for -2 yards. So the fast start the BC Lions were looking for has not materialized thus far, but the Edmonton Eskimos in a deep hole now, start at their own 9-yard line. First, the lone man in the backfield takes the carry from Danny McManus and gets not much. In fact, he might have lost a yard.
You know, a lot of people were wondering why Mike Sellers, who did a nice job replacing Tony Burst, was taken out of the lineup. But, you know, you got to have Tony Burst in the lineup. Here's a guy who not only is a hammer on running the football up the middle and can score touchdowns. He has 10 on the season, but he also covers kicks, is a good special teams player, and catches the ball well.
He's missed 5 weeks and is still 4th in the league with 10 rushing touchdowns. Now McManus from the shotgun. Pump fake by McManus. Lots of time. He's got Eric Blunt. Blunt slips, and that may have cost him a first down. Blunt needed the 19-yard line, but fell at the 18.
Well, Danny McManus's eyes must have got huge when he saw this matchup. Eric Blunt right here is going to come across the field. Look at the matchup that ends up on Eric Blunt. Joe Fleming,
a defensive lineman.
Number 76, a defensive lineman who, as a changeup drops into coverage for the BC Lion defense, has to cover Blunt. Danny McManus must have thought, wow, I got to get him the ball when I see a lineman covering my tailback.
Now decision time for Ron Lancaster. It's 3rd and less than a yard, and he'll send in the short yardage team.
Oh, this is... You know, you say when you get a yard off the ball, it's only a yard. You should be able to pick it up, but a lot of things can happen. You can fumble a snap. You can drop the ball on the exchange. You may not get the right surge. I mean, this is a big gamble at this point in the game and this point on the field.
Vic Stevenson, number 63, checks into the game as an eligible receiver.
And remember, Gord, of the 15 turnovers that the Lions have had against Edmonton this year, one of those turnovers was on downs. So they've stopped Edmonton on a gamble before.
3rd and a yard. The Eskimos from their 18-yard line. McManus will take it straight ahead. And if you can find him under that pile, all the best.
It always amazes me how the officials can put their foot down so confidently on a mark when there's... How do they see where he is?
Well, first of all, he's crawled forward about 1.5 feet since the whistle went.
And you know, every defender in that pile is ripping at the football, trying to push him back.
And the Eskimos do have the first down.
Under a yard, you should get it as long as the snap and the exchange is clean. And the clean exchange to Danny McManus, he leans forward and picks up the first down. So,
well, Lancaster goes gambling, but then again, Lancaster, the color commentator, always used to say that if you couldn't get a yard in a league where they give you one, there was a problem. Now on first down, the give goes off to Eric Blunt, and he is thrown back hard. Middle linebacker Kelly Lockbaum got there. And, you know, you talk about long drives in the Canadian Football League. When Ron Lancaster was coaching in Saskatchewan, Steve Barata was his assistant coach. He said, have the offense run some plays against cones just to get the timing down. He went away, came back, said to Barata, how's it going? He says, well, the cones are up 7-0. He says, you try running 10, 12 plays off against air, and it's tough.
Yeah, Adam Rita made that point this year. Said against air, we can't complete 5 in a row in training camp. We got to work on things.
BC showing blitz. Looks like Maurice Kelly was offside. McManus gets it away to Eddie Brown. He's got the catch, and Brown lost the football. BC has it at the Edmonton 39-yard line, but it looked like Maurice Kelly had jumped. So Edmonton might get a gigantic break here as the 20-yard gain by Eddie Brown, but then the fumble will come back. Lancaster would much have preferred to see the 20-yard gain and no fumble.
Well, at the start of the play, Danny McManus did such a great job of staggering his snap count.
Procedure.
Oh.
Ooh.
Edmonton number 20. Offside. BC number 11.
Now, wait a minute.
Repeat second down.
Now, wait a minute.
How does that happen?
I don't understand that. How is a guy, how do you get illegal procedure and offside on the same play?
Well,
one guy has to be first.
You got me.
If it's a legal procedure,
Don't look at me.
If it's a legal procedure, you have drawn the defender offside.
I'm wearing a straight tie, not a straight shirt. I can't help you there.
I don't get that one.
So it never happened. Second down, McManus from the shotgun flags again.
Well, this time Chaters.
That had to be Dave Chaters.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go out on the limb and say Dave Chaters was offside there.
Yeah, this time it's Chaters.
Procedure. Edmonton number 14.
Okay.
Still second down.
So now they got McManus.
Well, Danny McManus on both plays now has been really staggering.
But hang on, the quarterback's in the shotgun. How can he draw anybody offside?
Well, you can't deliberately, through your count, according to the rules, draw a guy offside. And if you make a motion with your arms or with your head, you can be deliberately drawing the well, that's what it says in the book.
Okay, good.
But that's supposed to be when the quarterback's under center,
so,
you know.
So that's the one you want to go with?
No, well,
okay.
That's what it says in the book.
2nd and 15. McManus up and throwing, and he's got his man, and he's got some room. It's Don Blair with the catch, and Blair out across the 50 as a first down to the 52-yard line.
David Mieva is the linebacker that was in charge of covering that zone, the flat zone underneath Don Blair on the play. He gets out into the flat, hasn't played in a few weeks, and gets his head on a swivel. You'll see 31 to the right of your screen. He kind of gets lost and can't find the receiver, Don Blair. That's why the opening's there, and Blair can pick up the first down.
A 39-yard pickup and an Edmonton Eskimo first down. This drive began at the Edmonton 9. Play action on first down. McManus over the middle, and a flag comes down from the far side of the field. That's got to be pass interference on Rasheed Gale, but that flag came from about 50 yards away.
Rasheed Gale read Danny McManus so quickly on the play and broke on the ball before the receiver did, and therefore got there too soon and actually made contact. It's a good call.
BC number 14. First down.
It'll be a first down for the Eskimos now, and they've crossed that invisible wall midfield for the first time.
Rasheed Gale's on his break already. Robert Gordon hadn't even turned around when he was breaking to the football and got there just a split second too soon. Contact, then the ball. Good call.
From now, the Lions' 47-yard line. The Eskimo drive continues. McManus from the shotgun. Here comes the rush. McManus gets it away. No, he doesn't catch it, though. Robert Gordon, they say, picked it up off the turf, and the official pounds the turf for emphasis as Robert Gordon goes to the end zone just in case.
Well, he had the best view. He was standing right on the spot. He had the best view, but we have the replay, so let's go to
so we have
that.
The slow view.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one hopper.
You get the one hopper. Right now, McManus is really finding holes in this BC Lion defense, and if they're going to have success defensively on the BC Lions side of the football, they better start sending some more pressure.
Should be the final play of the opening quarter. McManus slips, gets it away over the middle. Gordon has the catch and has a first down to the BC 35-yard line. Edmonton with a 9-play drive going, a pickup of 12 to Robert Gordon keeps it alive. The second quarter when we come back, but right now let's send you back to CFL Live at the quarter.
CFL Live at the quarter is brought to you by Midas for new, longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads. One other game going on in the Canadian Football League this afternoon at Taylor Field in Regina, and Saskatchewan is trailing the Hamilton Tiger Cats on a Yonel Jordan touchdown. Former Buffalo Bill taking it in a 6-yard TD catch, 7-0 Ticats. And welcome back to CFL Live at the quarter. Rod Smith back with Obi, Les, and Marty. Hey, we talked about turnovers with these two teams. That's been their history this season. And once again, Les, a turnover leads to the only points of the ballgame.
Well, Glenn Suter talked at the beginning, when it happened, about receivers getting mixed up in their routes. Well, defensive backs love to see receivers get mixed up in their routes. That way they can shuffle them into one another and cause something like this to happen. As we see here, Damon Allen drops back. One of these receivers got confused, ran the wrong route or whatever, but I'm sure they're hearing about it on the sideline. As you see the defensive backs knock them into one another, the ball pops up in the air. Willie Pless, who's always around the ball, like they said, with 103, 104 tackles, always around the ball. One thing I didn't want Willie to do is to pitch that ball, and when you're on the sideline now, you could mess up that turnover as well.
I don't know if you can blame that interception less on Damon Allen, but in the last few weeks, he has been really subpar. Earlier this season, you were one of the guys, and Gord Miller, and so many others who thought that he should have been the most outstanding player candidate from the Western Division. He's really blown that opportunity. He's taken a lot of heat from the Vancouver media lately, particularly Kent Gilchrist of the Vancouver Sun, of Vancouver Province. But he's really blown his chance for being, and now I think you've got to look at Garcia or McManus or even Alfred Jackson as the outstanding player in the West.
Well, I think part of that situation might be they've changed their look a little offensively, and they haven't got set in their receiving core all year. It seems like that's been a problem. And an area that I've been watching closely today in this particular game, especially with the wind factor, is the punting, because Fleming and going into the game, Louis Pasaglia were the two worst punters average-wise and net-wise in the league. Fleming was a little better, and that's going to be a factor as this game goes on, the punting in the field position.
Well, Lions trailing now. Let's head back once again to Commonwealth Stadium to Gordon Glenn, guys.
3-0 Edmonton leads after the first quarter of play. The Eskimo drive continues as Danny McManus hits Eddie Brown, and Brown now has some room to run. Still going across the 20 and down to the 18-yard line for another Edmonton Eskimo first down. And the numbers from the first quarter brought to you by Midas. Look at BC's passing numbers, -2 yards, but the Edmonton Eskimos with most of their 87 yards on this drive.
And that one turnover turned into that Sean Fleming 29-yard field goal. Willie Pless with the big interception takes it back, and Fleming kicks field goal, and that's the points in the game.
Lancaster talked about how hard it is to put together a long drive. Here's one. McManus over the middle. Darren Flutie, touchdown.
The games become more important. When you look at his stats over his career, when he gets into playoff games, the most important games of the season, Darren Flutie averages well over 100 yards per game. This is another one. This is for first place for the Edmonton Eskimos. You know that Darren Flutie will become a factor this afternoon. He already has with his first touchdown.
Sean Fleming puts the point after up and good, and the Edmonton Eskimos early in the second quarter strike on Darren Flutie's 9th touchdown catch of the year. That's a career high for him in a single season. And behind him is one of your favorite vehicles, Glenn, the Edmonton Eskimo fire truck.
You don't know how many times I've wanted to slash those tires.
Joe Fleming of the BC Lions said yesterday he was going to put a candy bar in the gas tank. He was so tired of hearing it.
Well, Darren Flutie does a super job of getting inside position, and Danny McManus recognizes who he's running against, the rookie, Rashid Gale. He sees the rookie covering his veteran in Darren Flutie. He's going to go there. It was man-to-man defense. Flutie knew it. Danny McManus knew it. They hook up. Touchdown for Edmonton.
Hey, Doug, what's up? How you doing? Long way to go now.
Saying hello to his brother, who, along with his Toronto Argonauts, had not a bad day yesterday, and the Argo juggernaut rolls along.
And congratulations to Don Matthews, becoming the all-time winningest coach in CFL history.
Shalon Baker has the kickoff go over his head and will now have to surrender a single point. So the Edmonton Eskimo lead that was 10 is now 11. And in attendance here today, another great former Eskimo and a former premier of this province, Don Getty, who is honored here on the Edmonton Eskimo Wall of Fame as well. And that's the one thing you see in Edmonton and in other places like Calgary too, is how many former players came here and still live here. More than 200 former Edmonton Eskimos live in this community.
Well, it's a tribute to the organization. They bring people in through their scouting programs. They make them feel comfortable here, and they like to stay here after they finish their careers.
And become the premier. Here's Brad Yamoka on first down, and Yamoka dragged down at about the 38-yard line. Willie Pless got up there to help make the stop, adding to his league-leading tackle total. A pickup of 3 yards for Brad Yamoka, who was the BC Lions' third-round draft pick in the '96 draft, and an outside shot at making the team, but has earned himself a spot and starts today.
He looks pretty good today. You know, he's the only guy from UBC in a lineup for the BC Lions that features 10 players from Simon Fraser University. No, but I'll get back to that point in a second.
I'm sure you will. Second down, Allen. And that pass is incomplete. Looking for Alfred Jackson. Malcolm Frank was there on the coverage. It is once again incomplete. Allen now 1 for 8 to open the football game.
Well, Malcolm Frank, the great cover guy, he's up at the top of your screen, just settles his feet, jams Alfred Jackson as he goes to make his break, and is there before the ball gets there. That takes experience to be able to do that as a corner, because you have to read the quarterback and know when he's going to break down, and the receiver will as well.
Julio Caravana's punt hangs up high for another number 2. Henry Williams, the gizmo, retracing his steps. And he is stopped by Nick Richards back at about the 27-yard line. A 38-yard punt and a loss of 6. The Edmonton Eskimos with an 11-point lead on BC on the CFL Live. You heard Darren Flutie say hello to his brother Doug earlier. Last year, they were both named to the CFL All-Star team. What if they went head-to-head in the Outstanding Player Award voting this year?
What would Mrs. Flutie do then?
You got to think Darren's got a shot at being the outstanding player in the Western Division. After that long march last time, the Eskimos start with better field position. The pass complete to Darren Flutie over the middle. He's got a first down out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. A pickup of 11.
Well, he does it also well. He reads defenses quickly. See, he knows there's a zone right here, so quickly he's got to get off the jam from Rashid Gale and find the opening. That's just a timing thing, and he knows he only has a split second to get into that opening to provide Danny McManus with the target. He gets there in time. McManus delivers the football.
Now here comes Big Tony Burse, who barrels his way out across the 45, leaving bruises and bumps in his way. He gets out to the 48-yard line and a pickup of 8.
You know, talking about Tony Burse's injury, he had a hand injury. He said the knuckle was basically ripped right off his hand. And he's surprised how quickly he's recovered, because he's really not even wearing protective equipment on it.
Couldn't leave it as hand injury, could you? Here he comes again out across the 50. The football comes loose, but they say Burse was down, and it should be an Edmonton first down. Don Wilson in to plead his case.
Well, it was a quick whistle, but I think the whistle did blow just before the ball came out.
And this has been somewhat of a...
I don't know. I don't know. Now, it looked like it came out before Burse hit the ground there, but I think the whistle blew just before Burse hit the ground. So if you're going on the whistle, it had already gone.
But one problem for the Edmonton Eskimos this year has been short yardage offense, and that's one of the reasons that Tony Burse got the nod over Mike Sellers at fullback, as they feel he's a better short yardage runner. And Mike Sellers was not too pleased about the decision by Ron Lancaster this week to move him to the sidelines.
Well, Mike Sellers is young and get a lot of playing time throughout his career. He's going to have a long one in the CFL.
First down, McManus slips again, and the pass is incomplete to Robert Gordon. Well, Mike Sellers began the year for Edmonton as a defensive lineman. And then halfway through the year when Burst was injured, he was moved to fullback. And this is a guy who was all-state in Washington in high school at fullback and a linebacker. And actually, Ron Lancaster thinks his natural position, if there was one in the CFL, would be tight end.
Yeah, Mike Sellers, in the 5 games that he played, 38 carries, 131 yards. He averaged 3.4 yards a carry and made a nice one-handed catch during that time. So showed a lot of athletic ability when the time he was in.
Now the pass over the middle is caught, and it should be another first down. Robert Gordon stopped at the 48-yard line of the BC Lions, and Don Wilson is shaken up after a gain of 12 by Robert Gordon.
Well, sort of a Robert Gordon sandwich, and Don Wilson got the worst of it.
Don Wilson, the ageless one, at 36, starting at defensive halfback for the BC Lions. Ron Lancaster paying tribute to him before this game, saying he's one of the most complete players in the league. But right now, the concern for Adam Reed is that he is down and hurt. And Wilson had been out the last 4 games with an injury and is shaken up again.
Well, this is right at the end of the plays. His own defense. Wilson's one area he's got to come across, and you see Rasheed Gale was coming over Robert Gordon, so all the momentum was coming towards Don Wilson, and they're looking at his neck and shoulder on the right side. You know, I was doing a few stats on Don Wilson. As you take a look at his career numbers, 59 interceptions. He's played 3 different positions in his CFL career. The tweener or linebacker position. He's played halfback and he's played free safety. As a tweener, he's got 24 interceptions. As a safety, 13. He played 2 years in Toronto at free safety, 90 and 91. And as a halfback, he's got 18 interceptions. So it doesn't matter where they play Don Wilson. He comes up with big plays for his team.
As Wilson remains on the ground, we'll take a break and bring it back to Commonwealth Stadium on the CFL Live in just a moment. Well, there's good days and then there's not so good days. Damon Allen having not such a good day. 1 for 8 passing, -2 yards, and an interception. He waits his turn on the sidelines as Danny McManus and the offense stay in for Edmonton. Frank Pimiskern takes the place of the injured Don Wilson. McManus up and throwing for Eddie Brown through his hands and incomplete. It'll bring up 2nd down, and McManus indicating to Brown maybe a little further back.
Well,
that was a gun, though.
Yeah, it was a hard throw to Eddie Brown, but Eddie Brown is probably fortunate that he didn't catch it, because there was a wave of BC Lion tacklers coming to make the hit on Brown had he caught that one.
Eddie Brown with few unexpressed thoughts and expressing a few more to the BC Lions. An Edmonton writer said this week that Eddie Brown is so instinctively negative, he should have been a sports writer.
I love that comment.
2nd and 10. McManus. Lots of time. Over the middle, he's got Robert Gordon, and he dropped it. Robert Gordon was open in behind the BC defense, and he dropped it.
Well, I want to give credit to Virgil Robertson on the drop for Robert Gordon on the play, because yes, Robert Gordon dropped the ball he maybe should have caught, but the reason he did is that Virgil Robertson, who had dropped into the zone defense, got his hands up and distracted Gordon just in time. He's right at the bottom right of your screen here. He's going to drop off, get up in the air, put his hands up, and that just gets enough on the football to distract Robert Gordon, who had to come back and try and make that catch.
Sean Fleming almost had that punt blocked, but it's a good one. Sails out of bounds right near the goal line, and where will they mark it out now? Just outside the 5, so an excellent kick by Sean Fleming, 43 yards, no return, and the Lions will be hemmed in deep, trailing by 11.
Well, we saw those lopsided numbers for Damon Allen and Danny McManus coming into this series. Now, Danny, I think the reason for that is Damon Allen has been locked in a little bit to Alfred Jackson. Yes, he's your #1 target, but you have to take what defense gives you. And right now, Edmonton defense is not giving them Alfred Jackson, so Damon Allen has to look elsewhere if he wants to have success.
BC has run just 12 offensive plays, and we're in the 2nd quarter of the football game. Edmonton showing blitz, and it looked like early movement. Derek McCready might have jumped, and of course he immediately indicates that he was drawn offside.
Procedure, BC #9,
Still first down.
I think Jake's cracking down on quarterbacks bobbing their head.
Sure is.
That's the second time we've seen it. We talked about the BC Lions and their struggles on offense. 3 punts and an interception. And the interception by Damon Allen, just his 10th of the year.
The only word to describe that, ugly. If you're a BC fan. If you're an Edmonton fan, it looks pretty nice.
They seem pretty happy here at Commonwealth Stadium. Allen from the end zone. Lots of time. Can't find anyone. Now looks over the middle and falls incomplete. He was looking for Nick Mazzoli, but the pass was knocked out by Tommy Henry.
Well, Damon Allen's going to go and congratulate his offensive line, and then he's going to say to his receivers, wait a minute, guys. You guys have got to get open. Full credit to the secondary for the Edmonton Eskimos. Damon Allen has all day to throw this football. He looks to the right, no one there. He pulls it down, looks back to the right, down the middle, finally all the way to the left. But Tommy Henry had tracked his receiver all the way across the field, and great coverage by Edmonton.
5 straight incompletions now for Damon Allen. Second down. Heaving it deep for Alfred Jackson, being bumped by Malcolm Frank, and the pass well out of his reach is incomplete.
Well, I talked about Damon Allen being locked into Alfred Jackson, but that particular play, I looked across the field to the other receivers to see if anyone was open, and there was a blanket across the field. Not one BC receiver was open on that play, so a good decision by Damon Allen to basically throw it away. Alfred Jackson was covered on the play, and Damon Allen 2 plays in a row has had nowhere to go with the football.
Now Julio Caravata will punt deep from his end zone. Don Blair and Henry Williams are back to receive, and Caravata's had a good day kicking the ball. Lou Pasaglia is in uniform but shaken up, and Caravata's going to give up 2. So Adam Rita decides not to give the Edmonton Eskimos a chance for more than that. He'll give up the deuce. And now with 8:09 to play in the first half, the Edmonton Eskimos with a 13-0 lead on the BC Lions. Still on the drawing board on the BC sidelines, Damon Allen and company talking it over with Adam Rita, trying to get this offense unstuck.
He's got all the receivers in the huddle there, and I'm sure Adam Rita's instructions are, hey, get open. One of you, please. Get open, give our quarterback a target.
Here's Henry Williams taking the kickoff after BC surrenders the 2. He gets out to the 38-yard line. That's where the Eskimos will start with a 13-point lead. Let's go to the sidelines to Ken Chillibeck.
Don Sprague is with me, Gord, from the Grey Cup Committee. Of course, November 16th, a big day, Don. How are the ticket sales going and everything else?
Super. Everything's sold. We have sold 48,000 tickets out of a possible 52,000. And whether we take the tarps off in that, we won't decide till November 1. But it'll be a sellout.
And you're hoping that a day like today, too.
Oh, yeah, this is nice weather. It'll be like this on November 16th, I'm sure. And all the other events are going well, the dinners and that, too. So great shape. Be a great Grey Cup.
Thank you very much, Don. Hopefully the Eskimos, for your sake, will be in it.
I do, too.
Okay. Guys, back to you.
Holy smokes. Little Edmonton boosting down there, right? Tony bursts out across the 40 to about the 43-yard line, has a gain of 4 yards on the play. The last time the Grey Cup game was played here, of course, was 1984, won by Tom Clements and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on a very unseasonably cold day here in Edmonton. I gave my best friend tickets to that game. They were in the last section, the last row of the upper deck. Possibly the worst seats in the history of football.
And what's interesting, if the Edmonton Eskimos win this game this afternoon, they'll have 2 home games to win it.
That's right. McManus swings it out now for Burst. Look out. Oh!
Oh, man.
What do you want? A little razzle-dazzle, a little hammer?
Well, no, but this is the problem. If you're a defensive back coming up to cover or to try and tackle Tony Burst, here's your dilemma. You got to bow your neck thinking he's going to try and run over me, so I'm going to bow my neck, get my head down, and whoa! Where'd he go? Wow. He hurdles you because he's a great athlete, and that's the problem you have when you're trying to tackle.
And Danny McManus certainly not locked in on any one target. That's the second catch for Burst, and He's moved the ball well and distributed the ball evenly. Now out of the backfield, this is Eric Blunt. And Blunt has a first down across the 50 and down to the BC 47-yard line.
But this goes back to my point, Gordon, about Danny McManus distributing the football to everybody and taking what the BC defense gives them. When they mix it up and play zone, McManus will drop it off to Blair or Blunt or Burst out of the backfield like he did on the previous play. If they go to man, then he's looking for Flutie, Eddie Brown, and Robert Gordon in the matchups. On the other side of the coin, Damon Allen has been locking into a receiver. That's why McManus is having success, and Allen isn't so far.
First down, McManus looking for Don Blair, and it is intercepted. No, it's not. Greg Frères thought he had it, and the call is that the ball hit the ground.
Well, Greg Frères really needed that interception from a personal standpoint. He's coming off a tough game last week where he gave up a touchdown over his head to Dan Farthing in Saskatchewan, and it was a big one. And this one would have been a huge one for him personally to come up with, but that ball definitely rolls along the turf, and a good call by the officials.
Brings up second down for Edmonton now from the 47-yard line. McManus from the shotgun. Has time, has Robert Gordon, and he has a first down to the 29-yard line. Maurice Kelly makes the stop.
Real smart play by Danny McManus, Gordon, because he saw Greg Frères leave the middle of the field and play sort of a switch zone defense. And what I mean by that is Greg Frères is going to come back and take a short zone on the field. Not normally he plays deep. This time he's going to take the short zone. McManus recognizes, you see 40 to the left there. He slipped and fell. That was the zone he was supposed to cover. Robert Gordon recognized and picked up the first down.
Gain was 18. Now McManus looking deep for Darren Flutie, and Flutie almost had his second touchdown of the game, but Don Wilson back into the game, corrals him down at the 11, but it's another Edmonton Eskimo first down. And McManus making it look easy. That's a gain of 17 yards.
And that was the man matchup that he goes to the other guy, Darren Flutie, who, of course, in man-to-man defense knows how to run patterns.
The Edmonton Eskimos with a 13-0 lead. A win today clinches first place and home field advantage in the Western Final. Now McManus gives it off to Burse. Tony Burse and Joe Fleming do a little rodeo, and Burse across the 10 for a gain of a couple.
Well, Joe Fleming is really having a great season for the BC Lions. Defense has 8 sacks on the year, and one of the things that I find interesting about Fleming is he was a 4th-round draft pick to the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
Hockey team, great hockey player. You know that Fleming played high school hockey with Keith Tkachuk.
Yes, he did.
And I asked him, why didn't you pursue your hockey career? And Fleming says, well, I spent too much time in the penalty box.
I'll tell you what, at 6'3", 240, if he could skate, Ty Domi'd have to score goals. McManus to the end zone, and Darren Flutie brought down by Don Wilson. And it's incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd down, and Ron Lancaster sends the field goal unit on the field.
Virgil Robertson got some pressure on Danny McManus. He had to get rid of it a little early, a little before he wanted to, and see it's coming right there as he gets hit just as he throws the football. But the reason that Darren Flutie didn't complain on the play for an interference call is because he slipped, fell down, and when he did, Don Wilson slipped on top of him. So no interference, and Fleming will have to kick the field goal.
Sean Fleming with a try from just outside the 15-yard line. He's 1 for 1 today. Jimmy Kemp is the holder. Fleming puts it through, and the Edmonton Eskimos have improved their lead to 16-0. They've got a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 6. Hey, you can't beat that.
Well, home field advantage here at Commonwealth can sometimes work against you, and that time Darren Flutie, who had the matchup, he's right here on the inside trying to work to the inside on Don Wilson. This is why he doesn't complain. He goes to break to the inside, slips and falls there. The left foot slipped down. Don Wilson slips on top of them. Good no call on the play, and the ball bounced on the turf.
Gotta go to those Leif Pettersson Memorial 1-inch cleats. The old tarp nails that he used to wear.
Well, you heard Darren Flutie say, stupid. He's saying to himself, you know, I know better. I know to chop my feet a little more and use this field to my advantage.
Lions here trying to get something going. They set up the receiver screen for Shalon Baker, who runs right into Willie Pless. And he's brought down at about the 39-yard line for a gain of 4. Well, for the BC Lions, it's just been a brick wall they've been playing against. And look at the time of possession so far in the game. 18.5 minutes for Edmonton, just 8.5 for the BC Lions. And Damon Alling having a miserable day throwing the football. He is just 2 of 11 so far as we've reached the 3-minute warning. The CFL Live returns to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton right after this. Back at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, Derek McCready and Benny Goods digging in for this Edmonton defense on second down for the BC Lions. And the Edmonton defense has really dominated this BC offense. Here comes the blitz on second down. Allen steps up and gets whacked. Thought he saw a hole, but it was closed quickly.
Well, good pass rush by the guys you talked about. McCready, Benny Goods, they were coming. Got the good pressure on Damon Allen. I thought it was interesting comment from Benny Goods on Derek McCready before the game. Derek McCready's having a great season at the nose tackle position, and Benny Goods says about McCready, ain't no line to take his job. It's a thankless job. It's a thankless job. You get double teamed, you get pounded. But the guys that rush, Benny Goods, Leroy Blue, Melvin Hunter, love to see that because they can get one-on-ones.
Great job by Don Blair to field that punt on the fly right at midfield. And that'll give the Edmonton Eskimos some more yardage.
You know, you're not going to see Derek McCready's name probably in the, you know, in the All-Stars and stuff like that, but Derek McCready is having an All-Star season and his teammates appreciate it. And just go back to that comment, when he's taking the double teams and the pounding in the middle, Benny Goods, Leroy Blue, and Melvin Hunter get the one-on-one situations and they get the sacks and the glory. McCready takes the bumps and bruises, but you know what? He loves it because that's the kind of guy he is.
Boy, you tack on the penalty there for no yards. The net punt was 10 yards. You can see that the Edmonton Eskimos have had their way with things. McManus is already over 200 yards passing. Allen has 30 yards rushing on 2 carries. And Robert Gordon is Edmonton's top receiver with 60 yards. The Eskimos open this drive at the BC 48. McManus sets it up for Blair. And only a shoestring tackle by Maurice Kelly prevents him from getting more than the 6 yards he picked up there.
Well, that was exactly the same play that Blair scored against Calgary in that big overtime win for Edmonton a couple weeks ago, where Blair takes off on that hitch screen and scores the winning touchdown in overtime. So they know they have success with that play, and Don Blair is coming into his own, has over 500 yards receiving this season.
The first overall pick in the CFL draft in 1996. Now McManus, quick drop over the middle, has Darren Flutie, and look out, he's off and running. Flutie inside the 30 down to the 27-yard line. There's a flag down on the play. If the play stands, it'll be an Edmonton first down.
Coming back.
Procedure, Edmonton, no end. Repeat second down.
A 13-yard gain is wiped out as Edmonton had only 6 men on the line of scrimmage, and you can't do that.
No.
Ron Lancaster's team, the least penalized in the Canadian Football League this year, and his least favorite kind of penalty is that kind.
Well, you know, but they're the least penalized team because they're well coached, and Ron Lancaster takes care of the little things with the Edmonton Eskimos, and when you have a real well-coached football team, they don't get a lot of penalties.
McManus on second down. Flag comes down late as McManus looks for Blair. The pass is incomplete. David Mava there was on the coverage with Damian Lyons. And holding is the call against Edmonton. That'll be declined, you'd have to think.
Now, this could be a decision time for Adam Rita, because if you decline the penalty, it's 2nd and 8. Or, excuse me, 3rd and 8.
Holding. Edmonton number 55, decline, 3rd down.
And take it and you move them out of field goal range.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
I'm not sure Lancaster's in the mood to try a field goal anyway. I think he might just send the punting unit out, and it does indeed look like Sean Fleming has gone out there without his tee. Well, you heard them talk about it earlier on the panel show. Is Ron Lancaster on the move at the end of this year? It wouldn't be a matter of breaking his contract. He doesn't have one. Whistle's going before the play is started here. But yeah, Ron Lancaster has a handshake deal with Hugh Campbell at the start of every year.
Well, how about that for an organization where You can trust your boss that much so you can say, well, listen, I don't mind. We'll just do a handshake and I'm okay. You know I'm not going anywhere for this season and I know I'll get paid, so no big deal. Which is the situation Adam Rita is getting closer to in BC now. It hasn't been like that in BC in the past under some of the other ownership, but right now with David Brady and Glenn Ringdahl, they're really going in that direction.
Look out. Fleming almost had that block. Now sends a low bouncing kick. And Philpott lost the football. There's flags down. That'll be no yards against Edmonton. That play was a jailbreak from the start.
Well, it was for Edmonton, though, a huge play from Sean Fleming. That kick is blocked. If he doesn't heads up, pull it down, reload, and somehow get it out of there. I mean, Sean Fleming is a good athlete from the kicker position. Watch this. This is a block.
How did Mava miss?
Mava has a chance at it. Pulls it. Fleming pulls it down, reloads, and kicks it again. Great athletic play by Sean Fleming.
Well, a 26-yard punt, but take off the penalty. The net is just 11, and with 2:04 to play in the first half, BC is still on the schneid, as we used to like to say in cards.
What does that mean? I've always wondered. I've heard that. What does that mean?
It means if you're playing gin, it means you have no points.
Okay.
It means Leaf is taking you for all you're worth, and you've got 3 hours left on the flight. Here goes the give to Corey Philpott on first down. He runs into a whack of Edmonton Eskimos, including Malvin Hunter. Coming up at halftime, Rod Smith, who's been a one-man band for the last month or so on TSN. Mr. Baseball is back with the gang of three, and they'll have some out-of-town highlights. Montreal playing Winnipeg today, and all the news and stuff from the Canadian Football League. 1 week left to go in the regular season. And it feels like football in the air.
Oh, especially here in Edmonton. You've got to love it here. This time of year, natural grass, great.
Now Allen under pressure, can't get away from Tommy Henry. Tommy Henry just stuck with him. Allen threw every move he had at him, and Henry wouldn't bite.
Well, this kind of move in a one-on-one situation for Damon Allen usually works against defensive linemen, but Tommy Henry, who's a linebacker, converted from a DB. He's right at the top of your line, going to come from the top of your screen on the delayed blitz. Here he comes. Now, this is a one-on-one that Damon Allen usually wins against linemen, but this is a DB. It's a little different. They're pretty good at tackling in the open field. Tommy Henry brings him down.
Ron Lancaster quickly called timeout there after the loss of 11, so the clock stops with 1:35 to go. And now Julio Caravata to punt. And we have not seen Lupa Saglia yet today. He'll only be kicking field goals and point afters today for the Lions. Caravata hangs up a pretty good one. Gizmo from the 43-yard line. And great downfield coverage by a guy who's having a pretty good day doing it. Nick Ferguson down to make the stop. And so with 1:26 to go, Edmonton has the ball. Now, tell your Simon Fraser story as you look at SFU graduate Louis Pasaga.
No, I mean, my story was about Brad Yamoka, actually. I mean, here's Louis Pasaga, who's also from Simon Fraser. He's had the cap problem and, well, like you said, only kick field goals and extra points today. But Brad Yamoka has a little bit of bragging rights. He may be only one of, you corrected me, 2 UBC Thunderbirds on this lineup for BC, but he was a Shrumble MVP.
Oh.
See, SFU and UBC play each other. Yamoka was an MVP in one of those games, so he can say that to those guys.
Here's the pass out to Eric Blunt and blown out across the 45. For those of you in the rest of the country outside of the Republic of Vancouver who don't know what the Shrum Bowl is, it's the annual game between Simon Fraser and UBC. And
you know how I always like to get my.
Now, when you played at Simon Fraser, who did you guys play? Like the Colorado School of Mines, Idaho School of Potatoes, Drill Bit Tech? Was that some of the schools you played?
We played some big schools.
You played big schools.
We played
Portland
some
State,
big schools.
Yeah, big
Portland
schools.
States,
Yeah.
Fresno States. You know.
Danny McManus over the middle, and Don Blair was open, and it falls incomplete. Don Blair, who won a national championship in Canada with the University of Calgary.
And with the University of Calgary had over 1,000 yards in just 8 games in 1995, which is huge.
A Heck Crichton Trophy winner is the top player in Canadian University football. You know who the other one is playing in the Canadian Football League right now?
Who would that be? That would be
Bob Cameron.
Oh, I was thinking of athletes.
Oh, wow.
No, my apologies to Bob Cameron. Who's a great athlete? For a kicker.
Yeah.
For a kicker.
I'm not helping you. You're on your own now. All I know is the guy who works at the Hammer and Nails during the daytime. You may be in trouble. Sean Fleming to punt. End over end kick to Shalon Baker at the 20. And Baker brought down by Tony Burst with a good play on special teams. Gets down to about the 27-yard line. Well, we've got a couple more games for you on TSN before the end of the regular season. Friday night has Saskatchewan taking on Winnipeg in a game that could have definite playoff ramifications depending on what happens today, as the Saskatchewan Roughriders can still finish second.
Yeah, I mean, if the BC Lions lose this game but beat Calgary the last game of the season, but Saskatchewan wins both theirs, Saskatchewan is in second place.
Right. When's the last? Saskatchewan hasn't played a home playoff game since what, 1988?
1988, yes.
How'd you do?
Good. We lost. We lost to the BC Lions. Got pounded, as a matter of fact.
Here's Corey Philpott, and Philpott out across the 32 of May, the 32-yard line. Corey Philpott missed 4 games with injuries, and then in 5 games since then had just 8 carries, and he can be forgiven for thinking he's kind of a forgotten man.
Well, you know, I found it interesting, though. During the week in Vancouver, the media was talking about Corey Philpott replacing Sean Millington as a bit of a liability. And I sort of shake my head. I mean, here's a guy coming off 3 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons, and he's a bit of a liability.
What's this stuff the media saying? You're the media now.
Well, okay.
You are the media.
Okay, the other media.
The other media.
No question Sean Millington's having his best season in the Canadian Football League, but Philpott is no liability.
Second down for the Lions. Allen wants to take off and will. Gets a block, and Allen out across the 40 to about the 46-yard line. Corey Philpott sprung him. There's 17 seconds to go here in the first half.
Well, Philpott comes up with a big block, and he's trying to prove that he can do that as well. But I think for Damon Allen and Corey Philpott, there's his numbers over the year. I mean, that's a liability? Yikes. He can get it done running the football, but I think for this offense right now, with just time running out in the half, they wanted to get something positive to take in at halftime so they can say, hey, we've got a little success, let's build on it.
Allen from the shotgun as time winds down. Unloads, he's got Mike Trevathan, and Trevathan steps out of bounds at the 35-yard line, but not before time expires. Zeros on the clock and zeros on the scoreboard for the BC Lions as the Edmonton Eskimos take a 16-0 lead into the locker room at halftime. The second half is still to come, but stand by now for CFL Live at the Half with Rod Smith.
All right, thank you very much, Gord Miller. Yes, some things just don't change, at least at this stage of the season. While BC's offense continues to struggle, hey, check out the Eskimos. Defensively, it's now a game and a half, and they have allowed a grand total of 2 points. They are hot at the proper time of year when it's getting cold outside, Les. And you talked about that Eskimo defense before, and the blanket, their secondary, is really throwing on the BC receivers.
Well, we sat there and watched Damon Allen have about 7 seconds back there in the end zone trying to find somebody to throw the ball to. But like you said, the blankets are on every last receiver out there. And Malcolm Frank, who is playing against Alfred Jackson, who's having one heck of a year, knows who he's playing against, and he's got to come up big. And most people say, look at him squat. Well, he knows it's second down. They got to pick up the first down. He squats, jams him, and then he comes out and knocks the ball down. That's not giving up on the play. But that's not the only one. We could have picked many highlights of defensive plays by Edmonton.
That might have been a matchup of the best corner and the best wide receiver in the CFL, wouldn't you think?
Well, it's close to it, yeah. Heck
Malcolm
yeah.
Frank, I think, is the best one-on-one guy in the league.
Hey, Coach, we talked a lot during the year about Sean Fleming. I mean, he's always been a kicker and a good one, but it's been a tough year adjusting to punting as well. But that was just a brilliant play on his part.
Well, I think that Sean's making progress. Early in the year, as a punter, you know, it was an adjustment for him doing both because he'd never done it before. And earlier in the year, we did see him get a rush on, and he actually dropped the ball instead of, you know, trying to do something with it. But in this play, I think he learned from that particular game. I think it was against Toronto.
Yeah.
He holds on to the ball, shows some athletic ability here. And,
look at the vision.
Man, to get this punt away, you know, he's still struggling. He still is last in the league with his punting, but his net punting's still pretty good. He gets high punts, and he's getting better, and when the cold weather gets here, that'll be a big factor.
I just want to say something about another Sean, and that's Sean Millington. I really think the Lions are missing him today, not only for his running ability, but also because he's such a good blocker.
Exactly.
He's got the ankle injury today. He can't go, and I mean, they were doing poorly enough with him in the lineup. Without him, they're suffering badly today.
Yep, 4 losses in their last 5, 5 losses in their last 7. Things not going good for the BC Lions. They could fall below 500 with a loss today, and right now they are losing. It is 16-0 Edmonton at the half. When we come back, we'll have a look at the highlights from Montreal, the Bombers and the Alouettes. CFL Live returns after this.
We don't all run half marathons. We don't all drink distilled water. But we all love bread. Dempster's Hearty Grain 100% whole.
Hey, Friday Night Football makes its return to TSN next Friday night. The Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers live from Winnipeg Stadium. Got it for you, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. The Blue Bombers played their last road game of the season, the Montreal Alouettes. They faced Olympic Stadium today. The Bombers, of course, with no shot at a playoff spot. The Alouettes stuck in second place. No chance of catching the Argos now for first in the CFL East. But Winnipeg lost a lot of close games this year to Montreal. They're playing for pride, Jeff Reinbold and company, and this will hurt you right away here. It's 7-0 Owls when Chris Wright fields it and takes it straight. And a touchdown for Montreal. 62 yards later, 14-0 Owls. The Bombers hang tough. Chris Vargas hitting Milt Stegall behind the coverage. 52 yards later, that's a Winnipeg touchdown. 2017 Bombers at the half. Bombers, we keep coming on. Fake field goal, Bob Cameron to Troy Westwood. And Westwood, hey, this guy can ramble with a football. But this is part of the punishment the kicker has to endure. Yikes. Fortunately, I can tell you, he is okay. Bombers touchdown later makes it a 10-point lead, but Ronald Williams fumbles the football. Tom Europe has nothing but green in front. Boy, he is fast, Les.
Oh, man,
can Europe run? Yeah.
Faster than Les.
Reinbold can't believe another one, slipping away, and it does. 41-34, so the Alouettes improving to 12-5. Winnipeg to 3-14. Check this out from Mike Pringle. He set the Alouette record for rushing in a season, beating David Green's old mark of just under 1,700 yards. Pringle has 1,775, and his 10th game this season, rushing for 100 yards or more. He had 105 on the day, and that ties him for a single season with Robert Mims back in Winnipeg in 1991. Hamilton leading Saskatchewan at Taylor Field today. The Roughriders already guaranteed a playoff spot, but they're looking for more. In fact, they could finish as high as second place in that one, trailing 7-3 at the half. Well, I don't know. Saskatchewan, it is so up in the air in the West right now, Obi, with Edmonton situation. They can ramp up first place, but Green Riders, this is a critical game, and also another critical one in Winnipeg. They got a good chance at finishing second. Yeah, the Saskatchewan team definitely has a chance to improve their situation for the playoffs, and Edmonton's looking awfully good today as far as nailing down first place. So, you know, those games are still in doubt as far as where Saskatchewan's going to be with their standing situation. So it's going to be interesting. It's just like we said at the beginning of the year, that the standings in the West this year were going to be so tight that anybody could come out of there.
But Saskatchewan's been a team that's been struggling all year. Yep. They've been struggling with personnel. They've been struggling with quarterback. They've been struggling all year, Marty.
They started off
number one and go to the Grey Cup.
They started off okay. They had some mid-season turmoil. They've come back together nicely. But how in the world are they losing to the Hamilton Tiger Cats?
Mike Colley, by the way, starting at quarterback, throwing one touchdown pass.
Well, maybe that has something to do with it. We're not getting the opportunity to see the game, but God, Saskatchewan needs this game badly.
But Marty, that's my point exactly. They need this game so badly, and this is playoff implications. I mean, the playoff atmosphere is in the air. Why aren't they just going out there and just hustling their butts off to get this done? You know, they're already in the playoffs.
Well, you should know, Coach. It's that defense of Hamilton's. That's why.
Hey, Mike Pringle, you know, he does it again. I mean, he is the all-time single-season record anyway in the Canadian Football League, but against the Toronto Argonauts, I mean, that is going to have to be Montreal's focus. Maybe not for the Eastern semifinal. They'll have another team to worry about. But they got them next week. And Pringle, is that enough? I mean, the running game they have with him, is that enough to carry the load for the Alouettes?
They gave Toronto some problems with running the football in that last game, and as we saw, Montreal really didn't take advantage of the field opportunities they had in that game, and Pringle didn't play the whole game, so I'm sure that'll be added incentive for this coming game for both teams.
But there's a very psychological advantage for Toronto just to beat Montreal every time they play them. If Montreal doesn't get over that hump, they're in trouble.
The question going into the Montreal-Winnipeg game today was, why in the world was Mike Pringle playing? He had the sore ribs from last week, and I couldn't believe that he was even playing. It was a game that didn't need to be played, but he's a competitor, and that's what happened.
You'd have to hide his equipment to get him to not play. That's what.
But he was running gingerly in that game, and they risked a great deal, I think, by playing him today. But he had another great game anyway.
Yeah, he had another great game. Edmonton Eskimos defense having another great game. 16-0 for the Eskimos at the half. We'll have more on CFL Live after this, but another version of fun at Commonwealth, yes. Make sure you got the helmet for a little sheep bronco riding. I've seen it all. Boy, is he hanging on. Is he ever?
That's Gordon Miller.
He'll still be on it when we come back. No, he doesn't. Welcome back. We just saw that little guy go into break, riding the sheep. I think the Lions feeling a little sheepish now, losing again, 16-0. Let's head back to Commonwealth. Gord Miller and Glenn Suter. Hi, guys.
Yeah, maybe Edmonton pulled the wool over their eyes in the first half. I don't know. That's all the sheep puns you'll get on this show. Let's look at the first half numbers brought to you by Dodge Trucks. And I'll tell you what, it's been a one-way trip in this football game so far. 238 net yards for the Edmonton Eskimos, 89 for the BC Lions, and a tough start for Damon Allen. Just 3 for 12 passing so far in this football game with an interception. The only touchdown scored by Darren Flutie, Glenn.
Yeah, Danny McManus doing a nice job of distributing the football and looking to the key guys in certain coverages. And when it comes to man coverage and down in the red zone or scoring zone, Danny McManus is going to look for Darren Flutie, and he finds him on this touchdown. He gets inside Rashid Gale. You know, when you look at the stats, right now Damon Allen's really struggling throwing the ball and rushing the football. They have 70 yards rushing, the BC Lions. 42 of them are from Damon Allen. They need to get Corey Philpott involved to come back in this game.
Who is Damon Allen's key receiver? Well, somebody's got to step up because he hasn't been able to find him yet. The second half is still to come. Each guy's won the Grey Cup with the other team. Damon Allen won 2 with Edmonton. Danny McManus won it with the BC Lions in 1994. The Eskimos will get the ball first to open the second half. This is the Gizmo from the 30-yard line. Look out, he's got a seam, and Henry Williams gets out to the 46-yard line with a good burst, and his best friend, Don Wilson, brought him down as Danny McManus and the Edmonton offense come out on the football field. And what a turnaround it's been for the Edmonton Eskimos when you think about the 1-4 September they had. When you look at the kind of numbers they're putting up in October and in this football game, Danny Mack and his guys are getting hot at the right time.
Doesn't he always, Danny McManus? The games become more important. He plays better.
From the 46-yard line, this is Eric Blunt. Blunt spun around, still going, gets out to the 50. Good job to pick up 4 there. He was finished off by Virgil Robertson. Eric Blunt's a guy that the Eskimos need to find at this time of the year. You've got to think that Edmonton will want to rush the ball more as the weather gets worse. Edmonton averaging just 3.9 yards per carry coming into this game. The only team in the league under 4 yards per carry.
Yeah, but Eric Glenn will tell you he needs to get the ball more. Only 2 times in the last 2 years has he got the ball more than 20 times.
Early movement. Virgil Robertson jumped, and we'll see if the zero tolerance campaign against head bobbing continues here in the second half.
Well, they're 1-1 right now.
Procedure. Edmonton number 14. Still 7.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jake's getting tough on that.
Oh, he will not allow any more head bobbing. That's 2-1 Danny McManus on Damon Allen for the head bobs.
And Ron Lancaster, who cannot believe that was somehow outlawed.
And you know what? His question is, wait a minute, you don't call it all year. This is week 17. We've got 3 now in the same game.
Brings up 2nd and 11. McManus has a man. Robert Gordon takes a pop. Still going. He's got a first down and then some. Robert Gordon still going. Inside the 30. Forced out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Gordon broke the initial tackle. Picks up the first down and a gain of 39 yards.
Wow, courageous catch by Robert Gordon to start things off. He knows he's going to get hit. He turns around, takes the blow, keeps his feet, good, strong leg movement, keeps those knees going, and then uses his speed down the sideline. Robert Gordon's going to keep, if he keeps this up for 2 more games, he's going to get his 1,000 yards on the season.
He's got 99 on the day. First down from the 27. McManus, lots of time, looking for Gordon. Oh, what a catch! A great throw by Danny McManus and a great catch by Robert Gordon gets Edmonton down to the 5 as McManus threads the needle.
Well, Robert Gordon wasn't used a lot when Danny McManus played the BC Lions before. He only has 3 catches in the first 2 games, so obviously he wants to get him involved in this one. Watch the catch in traffic.
And what a throw by McManus to put that right on the spot.
Rasheed Gale and Leonard Humphreys both breaking on the football, but Danny McManus threads the needle.
They mark the ball down at the 6. First and goal from there. This is Blunt. Eric Blunt getting close, doesn't get in. Blunt looking for his first touchdown of the year. Gets down to the 1.
Gorillas.
Okay. That would be the big team.
Well, some guys call them elephants.
I think I'd like to be called an elephant as opposed to a gorilla.
I guess any big mammal. But Willie Pless is one of them. He's going to come in. He's one of the big guys.
Eric Blunt has to come out, so he won't get that first touchdown, at least not here. Second and goal from the 1. Tony Burst, touchdown. There's a flag down. But it's offside BC, and the touchdown will stand. Tony Burst with his 11th rushing touchdown of the year. And the Edmonton Eskimos have extended their lead 22-0 with the point after to come.
Well, Tony Burst gets the points, but Robert Gordon should get the pats on the back because this is the Robert Gordon drive. It's capped off with this surge from Tony Burst over the top. BC defense was called on the offside. They're trying to anticipate the snap count. Burst gets the points, but this is Robert Gordon's drive.
Sean Fleming with the point after. This to give Edmonton a 23-point lead. Burst with the touchdown, Edmonton with the lead, and they can almost taste first place in the West. Well, congratulations to Robert Gordon. Over 1,000 yards receiving now for the 3rd time in his career, and 2 key catches on that touchdown march for the Edmonton Eskimos.
And Robert Gordon's only 44 yards away from a personal best. His best was last year, 1,049 yards in Ottawa.
Sean Fleming hoofs it deep. This is Shalon Baker watching it sail over his head again. And he'll give up another single point. That's the 2nd time that's happened to Shalon Baker. And the Edmonton lead is now 24-0. Well, the scoring drive was 5 plays, 64 yards, but give credit to Robert Gordon with the 2 big catches on the drive, 3 passing plays.
Yeah, the two big ones from Robert Gordon. One when he breaks the tackle and takes off down the sideline. And then the other pinpoint throw from Danny McManus, and takes a lot of concentration from a receiver to come up with that catch with hands flailing in front of the football. And Rasheed Gale put his hands up front, and Robert Gordon concentrated on the football and brought it in.
From the 35, Damon Allen on play action. Look out, here comes Pless. Allen takes a shot and throws it high. Benny Goods and Willie Pless for playing high-low on Damon Allen, who just got the pass away.
Well, it's a time of year when you start talking about who's going to make the All-Star team and who's going to be up for the awards, and guess whose name is up there again?
Pretty tough to argue with Willie Pless as the Defensive Player of the Year in the Canadian Football League. He leads all tacklers coming into this game. He had 103. The next best tackler had 77. Looking at a 4th consecutive honor to his trophy case. Now Allen on 2nd down. Steps up, throws deep, has a man, and it is incomplete. And Trent Brown unloaded on Nick Mazzoli right at the end of that play.
Now, that definitely borderline from Trent Brown as to whether or not he gets an unnecessary roughness call on this hit, because that ball was clearly overthrown, and it looked like everyone had relaxed on the play. Here comes the hit.
Oof.
Trent Brown, and you could see the reaction from Cavis Reed on the outside, who thought that they may get flagged on that play.
Julio Caravana, the punt, almost blocked by Mark Faraway. Caravana goes down, there's no flag. Now there is a flag down as Don Blair takes the punt at the 52-yard line and dives about a yard ahead. Just a 25-yard punt, and the Edmonton Eskimos have a 24-point lead. BC Lions howling during that last break that they should still have the ball back after Julio Caravana got abused after he kicked the ball.
Well, he gets hit. I mean, this is contacting the kicker, no question. Fairway did not touch the football, contacts Julio Caravana, and the officials don't call it. And the BC Lions must feel like they're snake bit. I mean, this is a team that's the second most penalized team in the league, and we're called last week on illegal use of electronic equipment. So Adam Rita must be wondering, man, these officials don't like us.
And after a no-yards penalty, Edmonton starts at the 45. And look out, going deep for Don Blair, just out of his reach. Illegal use of electronic equipment.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, how many yards is that?
Well, it was a 10-yard penalty. It gave Saskatchewan a first down. What had happened was Saskatchewan has the fanometer on their clock in the dome.
BC does, yeah.
Excuse me, BC. And when that fanometer comes on, it can't come on when the opposing team breaks the huddle. And it did once, and Adam Reed and his team got called for it. Gave Saskatchewan a first down, and he was a little upset about it.
So what do you do, find the scoreboard operator?
I'm sure he had a word with him.
Second down, McManus from the shotgun, setting up the screen for Tony Burst, and he can't hang on.
Well, you know, both those plays now back-to-back are not Danny McManus's fault. That throw to Don Blair down the sideline was a perfect throw. Blair seemed to hesitate when he turned the corner on the wheel route, didn't come up with the catch, and that time I think Tony Burst just got a little nonchalant, a little lackadaisical when he turned around to catch that football and tried to put the one hand out there and doesn't come down with it.
I think you're getting lackadaisical when you say lackadaisical.
Well, that's football. See, that's the way we say it in the locker room.
Oh, okay.
That's football terminology. Okay.
You're going to start talking now like you used to talk in the locker room? We're in trouble. Sean Baker watches that punt go out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Another good kick by Fleming. A 39-yard punt and no return. He's having a good day punting the football. Coming up tonight, Game 2 of the 1997 World Series, Cleveland against Florida. The age-old rivalry is renewed.
Isn't baseball over yet?
Well, it's a great... Hey,
no, this is good.
7-2 Florida last night in front of 68,000 fans at the stadium formerly known as Joe Robbie Stadium. I'm not sure if the artist formerly known as Prince will sing the anthem tonight or not, but we'll check. Now the Lions in a deep hole, first down at their own 6. 9:50 to play in the third quarter. They don't yet have a point. Allen, quick drop, has Corey Philpott. And Philpott has not much as Tommy Henry was watching him all the way. Philpott gets maybe 1.
Well, Philpott catches one out of the backfield. This BC offense is really struggling this afternoon. I think Adam Rita took a little bit of a gamble this afternoon when he put Shalon Baker on the roster. Larry Thompson, the wide receiver, is back at home. Shalon Baker was put on for special teams. Larry Thompson against the Edmonton Eskimos had 5 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown in the first game, 4 for 39 and a touchdown in the second. Bit of a gamble to put him out at wide receiver and leave Larry Thompson at home.
Second down, Allen under pressure. Ran into his own man, and that pretty much did him in. Derek McCready finishes him off at the 9-yard line, but Damon Allen was done in by one of his own.
The Warrior keeps getting it done up the middle, and it's not an easy task when you have to try and tackle Damon Allen, who can be a little elusive in the open field,
yes,
to say the least.
I've heard that.
He gets going, but you got to keep up the middle, that nose tackle position. You got to keep the pressure and keep that inside position. Let the other guys from the outside put their moves on and try and get the sacks. You got to be there in case the quarterback takes off, and Derek McCready comes up with a big play. Caravana's
going to give up 2 again. And so now the lead is 26-0 as the BC Lions have twice surrendered safety touches.
Well, this is an Edmonton defense, though, and Adam Rita knows that there's a lot of pride over there on the Edmonton side of the football field. And this is a defense that has given up a lot of yardage against the BC Lions this year and are taking exception to it today.
Well, the Eskimos trying to answer back for the 27-1 loss they suffered at the stadium at BC Place about a month ago, as Ron Lancaster and the real brains of the Edmonton organization, equipment manager Dwayne Mandrusiak, talked things over.
How much did he pay you to say that?
Hey, it's true. We talked about the fact that BC has won both games with Edmonton this year. BC trying to become the first team in the 20-year history of this stadium to win 2 regular season games here in 1 year. In fact, in the 90s, the Eskimos have lost just 17 home games. 6 of them to the BC Lions.
Yeah, the Lions, the only team in the 90s to have a winning record at Commonwealth.
Well, aside from Edmonton.
Well, yeah. Okay, winning visiting team.
Well, I'm tough today.
Well,
huh?
you are tough.
Yeah, I'm tough. I'm in my hometown. I'm a tough guy today. Well, Adam Rita having a tough day as well. And his team, which was so good on the road to start the year, is now riding a 4-game losing streak on the road, which is in danger of becoming 5. Brett Anderson kicks it off. This is Gizmo from the 18-yard line. Looking for some room. He gets out to about the 35 and takes a ton of abuse for his trouble. A 17-yard return.
I have a feeling not too many of the game leaders will be BC Lions.
And Damon Allen running the football, but
that's mostly for his life.
There should be an asterisk next to that. And Danny McManus having a great day throwing the football. And Robert Gordon, after a quiet first half, has really busted out here in the second. He's got over 100 in the game, over 1,000 on the year, and a good pick by the Edmonton Eskimos to take him in the first round of the Ottawa dispersal draft. Here comes Eric Blunt. Blunt trying to get around the corner, out across the 40, forced out at about the 43-yard line, and bowled over one of the Edmonton Eskimo assistant coaches down there, but a gain of 7.
I want to go back to that point about Eric Blunt. You know, 2 times in the last 2 years, he's got over 20 carries in a game. He's averaged in those 2 times over 119 yards. Running backs will tell you, if you give them the ball more than 20 times, they will get you 100 yards. The good ones always do. Eric Blunt just doesn't get the football because Ron Lancaster has the mentality, if the run doesn't work early, we'll pass. He doesn't care.
Here comes Blunt again. This will be a first down for the Eskimos to about the 47-yard line. Of course, one problem with Ron Lancaster is his favorite running back was number 34 in Regina, and they all kind of pale in comparison to him.
Yeah, that's not quite fair, but I mean, 11 times in the last 2 years, Eric Blunt has got the ball less than 10 carries in a game. So, I mean, that's Ron Lancaster's mentality. He says, hey, I'm not going to pound my head against the wall. If we don't have success early with the run, I'm going to throw the football.
Interestingly enough, Eric Blunt does not have a touchdown scored this year. He has thrown a touchdown pass, though. Did it against Montreal. On first down, McManus has time over the middle. He's got Darren Flutie, and Darren Flutie has another first down on the BC 43-yard line. Greg Frères and Don Wilson there on the stop. But Flutie has another catch, and Flutie appears to be shaken up. His ribs are sore, we know that.
Well, it's really been
20.
Sorry, Gordon. It's really been pitch and catch for Danny McManus in this zone defense, and the reason being is that Flutie, Robert Gordon, Don Blair, and Eddie Brown are getting clean releases off the line. When you play zone defense, defensively, you got to get your hands on receivers and disrupt their timing. Darren Flutie has got clean releases, found the holes. When you get a clean release, the timing is there, and Flutie and Robert Gordon are taking advantage of it.
Flutie takes a breather. Here's the reverse to Robert Gordon. Gordon trying to get around his teammate Chris Morris. Some pretty good moves, and goes out of bounds at the 37-yard line. That for Robert Gordon is a pickup of about 4. Edmonton's receivers actually have a lot of carries. Eddie Brown's got one. Robert Gordon's got one. They like that reverse look.
You know, the thing about Edmonton and what Ron Lancaster has to be real excited about is that this receiving core is getting healthy at the right time. Robert Gordon had some injury problems. Don Blair had a hamstring early in the year. Darren Flutie's had the ribs. And Eddie Brown, of course, missed 5 games with his medical problems. So they're all becoming healthy at the right time. The stretch drive in the playoffs.
Second down. McManus from the shotgun over the middle. He's got Darren Flutie back in the game, and he's got another first down. Well, that little breather pays off again. Don Wilson, Greg Frères, and Maurice Kelly are helpless to stop Edmonton's top receiver.
Here's Flutie right here. Watch the clean release he gets. I mean, you got to disrupt receivers. He's clean. No one touches him. Makes a little juke move right there on Maurice Kelly. Finds an opening. There's always holes in zone defense. You can't cover the whole field. You don't have enough players in zone. If you don't get your hands on receivers, good ones like Darren Flutie will find the holes.
A 21-yard gain puts the Eskimos at the 17-yard line. McManus pump fake to the end zone. Eddie Brown, touchdown. Touchdown catch of the year, but his first in 11 weeks.
Well, Robert Gordon's having a pretty good game. Darren Flutie's caught a few. Eddie Brown goes in the huddle and says, hey, give me a chance. I want to get involved in the fun, and just takes off down the sideline, takes advantage of Rasheed Gale, who's really having a tough afternoon. It doesn't seem to matter who the receiver is. They're picking on Rasheed Gale a little bit, the rookie in there for the Lions, and this time it's Eddie Brown.
Eddie Brown with a touchdown. Danny McManus now with 3 touchdown throws on the day, and John Fleming with a point after. It is good. And the Edmonton Eskimos with a 33-0 lead on the BC Lions. Well, never mind the fire truck. If things get any worse for the BC Lions, they'll have to call the paramedics. 33-0. They got to regas that thing, maybe tune it up, put some new tires on it. And Sean Fleming now to kick it off. Fleming kicks it deep. And over the head once again of Shalon Baker. And if Baker's auditioning for a job on the kick return team, it's not going well. That's the 3rd time a kickoff has bounded over his head and into the end zone for a single point, making 34-0 Edmonton. Sean Fleming somewhat sheepish about the way he's gotten those 3.
He'll take them, though. Pretty good scoring drive for the Edmonton Eskimos, though.
Yeah, 6 plays, 74 yards. Eddie Brown home and cooled out with his 4th touchdown catch of the season. And they go 6 plays, 74 yards, just like this.
Nothing fancy about this. Eddie Brown's going to go straight down the seam. Robert Gordon is going to break out. Now Leonard Humphreys is going to drop Eddie Brown and switch. When he switches to take Robert Gordon, see, he drops Eddie Brown, he switches on the play. Rasheed Gale doesn't pick up the switch in time and can't catch Gordon.
Here's Brad Yamoka on the first down carry. He's got room to run, and Yamoka up across the 50 gets to about the 52-yard line. Now the problem for the BC Lions gets interesting. What happens next week, assuming Sean Millington is able to come back? Al Shipman is apparently healthy enough to come back and play. You've got Larry Thompson sitting at home who doesn't play today. Who sits for the BC Lions?
That's a good question. And I mean, it's a good problem for Adam Reed because there's a lot of talent you just talked about, and he has to decide which is the best combination heading into the playoffs.
Allen, quick throw. He's got Shalon Baker, and Baker cuts back across midfield down to the 51-yard line. The stop is made there by Malcolm Frank, a pickup of 8 yards.
You know, when you're comparing Shalon Baker to Larry Thompson when talking special teams, although Baker's had struggled on kick returns today, but obviously Shalon Baker knows how to return kicks, and that's not something that Larry Thompson is accustomed to doing. But as a receiver, Larry Thompson is the superior of the two, and he's a deep threat, something that Shalon Baker really isn't. So he wins that battle. Now, Al Shipman, on the other hand, Adam Reed knows, is a special teams talent. So you know that he's going to want to get him in the game. Interesting dilemma for the BC Lions.
First down. Here goes Corey Philpott, and he is tripped up. Great play there by Leroy Blue, who got a piece of him, a gain of 2, but it may be enough for a BC first down.
And when we're talking about scenarios for BC, number 6 seems to be the odd man out every time. I mean, here's a guy, like we talked about earlier, coming off 3 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons and been asked to play wide receiver, which is not his position, and he may be the odd guy out before long.
2 years ago, he scored a CFL record 22 touchdowns, but he's been playing that familiar position of left out ever since. As Ron Lancaster looks on, Lancaster's team gunning for an astounding record. This team will have played a home playoff game in 21 of the last 25 years, and each of the last 12 years, the Edmonton Eskimos will have played a home playoff game, and that's already assured. Here's Brad Yamoka again out to the 45-yard line, a pickup of 4.
And you know what's even, I think, is great about it this year is that, again, they'll be in the playoffs. Again, they'll likely be in first place. And you know what? A lot of fans here in Edmonton came out and watched them. This is the Edmonton Eskimos averaged the highest attendance in the league this year, over 31,000 a game, and they got another huge crowd here this afternoon. So this organization does a nice job. There's a big crowd to see them all year, and they'll be rewarded with first place.
Allen on second down. Over the middle he goes. Alfred Jackson with the catch, his first of the game, and a first down to the 35-yard line. So with 2.5 minutes to play in the third quarter, Alfred Action Jackson gets his first action.
Damon Allen tried to force it to Alfred Jackson early in the game, and pretty good coverage throughout the first half from the Edmonton defense. Didn't allow any completions to Jackson, but he's got such great ability, great natural athletic ability, that sooner or later he's going to find some open area.
Fakes to Yamoka. He'll take off to the outside, looking for someone. Now Allen will run. Gets past Tommy Henry down to the 20-yard line. A first down for the BC Lions.
Whoa, Mike Trevathan
dropped a bomb on Glenn Rogers.
Wow. Oh, man. He came back and dropped. He was the hammer.
Remember the hit on K.D. Williams earlier this year by Mike Trevathan?
Yeah. That's when K.D. was playing for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it seems like so long ago.
Mike Trevathan loves this part of the football game. He looks for this. We'll be right to the top corner. See 26 right at the top of your screen right here. He's going to just sort of come across slowly, and watch 77. Wow!
Oh. You know who used to be the specialist in that was Blake Marshall, the old fullback for Edmonton.
Oh, yeah.
His favorite target was guys who stood near the pile.
I'll vouch for you on that one, because he got me a couple times, and Glenn Rogers wondering where he is.
I'll tell you where he is. He might be heading for the CFL All-Star team again. Each of the last 2 years he's been a CFL All-Star, and this year he's got 6 interceptions, 1 off the league lead.
Yeah, no question. I think he's having an All-Star year at the halfback position. He'll regain his senses and come back and prove it again.
Damon Allen on first down. Long throw to Alfred Jackson. And not much to throw for it, as Jackson is tripped up immediately by Willie Pless, and a gain of a couple. Alfred Jackson, 3rd in the league in receiving touchdowns, 2nd in the league in receiving yards, but he and Damon Allen have not been able to hook up today, and this drive is BC's best of the football game.
Really is amazing when you consider Damon Allen completed 84% of his passes in the first 2 games against Edmonton, and now really struggling.
He's 7 for 18 today. Second down. Allen, lots of time to the end zone. Trevathan, touchdown. Mike Trevathan with the touchdown catch, his first in 2 months. Breaking an 8-game streak without a touchdown catch. He's got his 3rd of the year, and the BC Lions are on the board in the final minute of the third quarter.
You know, this game isn't brain surgery. When Damon Allen and Mike Trevathan see the all-star halfback Glenn Rogers go to the sideline, and they come back and they say, well, let's try and see if Ian Franklin, the rookie halfback, can come in there and cover one of our best in Mike Trevathan.
Lou Pasaglia into the game for the first time, puts the point after up and good, and with 29 seconds to go, BC trails 34-7. Mike Trevathan is just a football player. There's no other way to describe it. Look at that drive. He unloads the big hit on Glenn Rogers and then makes the touchdown catch.
And you know, and he doesn't say anything either way. I mean, you don't have to throw the football to him. He'll go out and make blocks for you and won't complain at all. You throw the ball to him, And I mean, win, lose, or draw, he does his job. He works hard. He's on special teams, makes big blocks for his quarterback when he's running down the field and catches the ball when he has to, and he'll catch the ball in traffic. He's the kind of guy you'd like to have in the trenches with you, and the kind of guy you definitely want as a teammate.
So with the fourth quarter to come, the question is, does Damon Allen have another one of those miraculous comebacks somewhere up his sleeve? Down by 27 points, though.
Well, you know, and not only Damon Allen, but this is a BC defense that really needs to come in and show something if they want any hope in coming back in this game, because so far Danny McManus has been having his way with the defense. Now, Mike Trevathan comes back with this big series, 4 passes, and he has one of the big blocks on Glenn Rogers on the play, and nice balance from Damon Allen. Comes back in that series, but now it's up to the BC defense.
Brett Anderson kicks it off, not too deep. This is Malvin Hunter on the kickoff return, and Malvin, the big game hunter, wisely just jumps down on the ball at the 41-yard line. Well, we talked about what Mike Trevathan can bring to a team, and we saw it on the last drive. The first thing he did was unload on Glenn Rogers Jr. to put him to the sidelines for a couple of plays right there. And then he takes advantage of his replacement, Ian Franklin.
How's that strategy? I'll knock the all-star halfback out of the game so I can get open. Then he gets open behind Ian Franklin, who comes in to replace Rogers.
The Eskimos now with the ball at their own 41-yard line, and this is a situation where a good running game would come in handy. McManus gives it off to Eric Blunt, and Blunt picks his way through the middle of that defense for a gain of about 5 up to the 46-yard line. Danny McManus with a couple of touchdown passes today, and you know, a very efficient performance.
We talked about Danny McManus and his interceptions early in the game, but we also said that big games he plays better. Last year in the playoffs, Danny McManus threw 4 touchdowns and only 1 interception, and then in the Grey Cup game, 3 touchdowns and only 1 interception.
Which was returned for a touchdown, which sealed the game.
Yeah, but 7 touchdowns and only 2 picks.
Flags are down. He hits Darren Flutie. Flutie's into BC territory down to the 48-yard line. We've seen a lot of calls for illegal procedure against the quarterbacks. Is this another? If the call is declined, it'll be the final play of the third quarter.
Offside, BC number 96, decline, first down.
The quarter is over with the Edmonton Eskimos holding a 34-7 lead on the BC Lions. The Eskimos 15 minutes away from nailing down home field advantage in the Western playoffs.
Center, armchair quarterback.
And as it appears, the Edmonton Eskimos are heading for first place in the CFL West and a bye into the final. The questions certainly continue for the BC Lions. One question, Marty, concerning personnel. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, the former Argos star, the tryout with Buffalo, and rumors abound that he could be heading west. What's the latest you hear on that?
Well, Rod, you know, it's interesting. Glenn Suter is talking about the Lions going to try to get Al Shipman back in the lineup, but Jimmy the Jet Cunningham is being offered a contract by BC. We're not talking about a slouch here. We're talking about a guy who led the CFL in all-purpose yardage last year, plays the same kind of position as Al Shipman. The Lions have offered him a contract for the rest of this year and $75,000 for next year, whereas the Argos have only offered him about $59,000 for next year to come back. And there's another team in the running, too, Saskatchewan. They're trying to get him as well.
Saskatchewan?
Yeah.
Saskatchewan should put some money towards a quarterback instead of worrying about something else. Well, they'd be okay. They got all the receivers. There. They got all the receivers they need. Shoot.
Well, if they get Jimmy Cunningham in BC, and with Al Shipman being available, that could create some interesting moves by Coach Rita to get ready for the playoffs.
Well, Bob, all I know is that the Lions need all the help they can get. They look like a really troubled team right now at the worst time of the year.
One question that we've dealt with before, why isn't Damon Allen running the ball more?
It's because of the offense. Their offense isn't really structured to ask him to run as much as he should, and when he has the opportunity in the spread situation, he should step up and take more of those opportunities. But you know, when he does the bootlegs and fakes the run and gets outside, those things are more effective for him.
You spoke earlier of Saskatchewan. The Green Riders now leading Hamilton 13-8. Don Narcisse, 26-yard reception from Kevin Mason. It's all Edmonton as we head to the fourth quarter at Commonwealth Stadium. Once again, Gordon Glenn.
Well, the shadow's getting long at Commonwealth Stadium. Interesting to note that in 1 month's time, this would be right near the end of the first quarter of the Grey Cup game. Kickoff scheduled for 3:30 Mountain Time here in Edmonton. If they get a day like this, they'd be doing all right. You know, you were talking about the crowds here in Edmonton earlier. What's interesting is 10 years ago, the Edmonton Eskimos made a deal with the fans. If you're a first-time season ticket buyer, you buy season tickets and they don't make the playoffs, you get your tickets next year for free if they don't make the playoffs.
Well,
they haven't had to come through on that one yet.
Well, if you're in Edmonton, you can make that guarantee.
Danny McManus, quick throw to the backfield. Eric Blunt just out of his reach and incomplete. That'll bring up second down. The numbers through 3 quarters tell you a story that has been ongoing. Just 69 passing yards for the BC Lions to 353 for Edmonton. 1 turnover by BC, but the story in this game has been 2 things: Edmonton's offensive production and time of possession.
And 2 times Danny McManus has thrown over 400 yards this season. Only Warren Moon had done that for the Edmonton Eskimos previous to that, and McManus may do it again this afternoon.
And he was good.
Yeah, Warren? Yeah, he wasn't bad.
Second down, McManus looking for Eddie Brown. That's broken up by Damian Lyons. It'll bring up third down for Edmonton. Now, I'll be accused of being a cockeyed optimist here, but if you're the BC Lions...
I'd never call you an optimist.
Really? Oh, it hurts me deeply. 34-7 is the score. You get the ball back quickly, do something with it. You're right back in it.
What do you want me to call you?
Cockeyed optimist. That's an old Ronald Reagan expression. Well,
it's a long way to go, but
I'll tell you
could happen.
John Huffnagel better book some extra time in the film room this week.
Well, yeah. He'll be there. He'll be there on Monday as a consultant.
Watching a horror flick. Fleming gets a great kick away. And Shalon Baker has it go over his head into the end zone again. So the hill just got a little higher. Now 35-7, and BC down by 4 touchdowns. Hey, tomorrow night on TSN, the NHL tonight. St. Louis and Detroit. Ooh, you'll see Brett Hall, who's been red hot, and the defending Stanley Cup champions.
Which is good, because I have him in my pool.
Oh, good for you. Solid pick, Glenn.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sleeper for you. Bob McKenzie and I will be in the studio. Paul Romanek and Gary Green will be there. I better get home.
Yeah. You got to get back. You got work to do.
Canadian Football League action down the stretch. The World Series, the NHL. Hey, a full-service network. First down now for the Lions from the 35-yard line, and flags are down, and Damon Allen may not have gotten the playoff in time. Procedure is the call against BC.
Well, you know,
BC number 59, still first down.
Procedure is the call against Todd Furtick, who moved to left tackle for this team.
Yeah, it's Todd Furtick's turn to play. He switches with Corey Mantika game to game. But John Huffnagel's definitely going to help Damon Allen. I mean, this is a John Huffnagel type of offense, and even if it's just for a couple of weeks, his insight and knowledge is going to help Damon Allen in the playoffs.
Allen can't find anyone open. Now slings it out there. He's got Alfred Jackson. Look out, it's a foot race. And Alfred Jackson stripped from behind. The ball still loose. Edmonton has it. It's Edmonton Eskimo football, although it's changed hands a couple of times since they first recovered it. Alfred Jackson caught from behind.
Mike Trevathan has it now.
A little late for that. But Alfred Jackson stripped from behind, loses the football, and Edmonton gets it back.
Alfred Jackson's right there. He's going to run the out pattern. Just sit down on the outside, takes off running, a good strip. You see Glenn Rogers back in the game after Trevathan hit, but it's Malcolm Frank who strips the ball out, and then the fight begins.
I think Frank got it back.
Frank has a chance at it, and Trevathan, Frank gets it. Trevathan was scrapping for it.
It would have been a 44-yard gain for Jackson, but it's Edmonton Eskimo football. Here's Eric Blunt. Big Joe Fleming reached right around his block and made the tackle. Joe yesterday was making the case. He wants to be on the hands team, the team that goes out to recover short kicks.
Yeah.
He's really upset he's not on the hands team. He wore his special gloves. He had brand new gloves, and he had his shorts on. He's looking like an offensive player. He feels like he was robbed that he wasn't allowed to be on the hands team.
Well,
pretty good hands there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about catching the football, but he did show pretty good hands grabbing Eric Blunt, and he did it around Chris Morris, who got up just kind of shaking his head saying, well,
how did he make that tackle?
I sort of had him blocked. How did he get him? How did he get him?
Loss of a couple at 2nd and 12. McManus over the middle and is intercepted by Maurice Kelly. The Edmonton Eskimo killer has another pick, and the BC Lions will have the ball in Edmonton territory with 12 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. The CFL Live returns to Edmonton right after this. Maurice Kelly with the interception keeps the BC Lions alive. They've got the ball at the Edmonton 47-yard line after Kelly's 4th interception of the year. And you know what? There's another guy who'll be hard to keep off the CFL All-Star team.
Absolutely. Having a tremendous year.
After you put 15 Toronto Argonauts on it, there won't be much room. First down. Allen under pressure. Gets away. Still going down to the 43-yard line. Allen gets a gain of 4. Back to Maurice Kelly.
Well, we always talk about the match defense. A lot of teams run it. Here's Maurice Kelly. This is the match defense. His job is to pick up Darren Flutie, match up with him if he comes inside. If Flutie goes outside, he's Don Wilson's man. But in this matchup, he picks him up. And this was week 3, and he did it again against this same Edmonton offense and Danny McManus.
Damon Allen now 6 carries, 67 yards. Now 2nd and 6 for the Lions. Allen has time, trying to get away. Long way to go, but Allen is close as he slides down to about the 37-yard line. He'll be near a BC Lion first down, and in fact, Glenn Studer gesturing wildly that he has.
Well, and even if he doesn't, it's 3-down football for BC, no question. I mean, you're down 35-7. You got to go for it anyway.
Okay, Swami, we'll see how you are here. Oh, I don't know.
Well, I was more motioning the fact that...
No.
No, I'm not going back on it. I'm not going back. I'm just motioning the fact that doesn't... I mean...
Sorry, incorrect.
Whether he gets it or not, they're going for it.
Oh, that's what you...
That's what I was talking about.
Well, again, if that's your story, stay with it.
Thousands won't, but you're going to believe me, huh?
Can't believe you'd lie like that with your kids watching. That's what really shocks me. So it'll be 3rd and inches for the Lions. 10:52 to play in the 4th quarter.
Ron Lancaster's not smiling because he's been in this league long enough. 35-7 is not a big enough lead for him.
Allen has outrushed the Eskimos by 26 yards.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no, you don't know.
I don't know if he got it. It was just inches, but unless he crawled his way to a first down and gets a liberal spot. He got pancaked from the back. I wasn't sure who it was, the number, but
Jed Roberts is indicating that they don't have it. I don't think he did either.
No way.
He did not get it. Stopped on 3rd and a yard. The Edmonton Eskimo defense turns in another big play. The Eskimos with a 35-7 lead. Back at Commonwealth Stadium, where Danny McManus of the Edmonton Eskimos having a pretty good day, leading the BC Lions 35-7. The last 3 Lions possessions have resulted in turnovers, a fumble, then an interception, and then downs. And the Eskimos now, as a result of the defensive stop on 3rd and a yard, have the ball at their own 37-yard line. Here's Tony Burse. Big collision with David Mava. Gets out across the 40. Now, a lot of guys are going to spend the offseason doing interesting things, but not quite like David Mava does. I don't think David's fishing show will make it on TSN. It's a little dangerous.
Well, you know, he comes up and tackle burst, which is not a frightening thing for Mava. Here's a guy who swims with sharks in Hawaii in the offseason, and he asked him about it. He's a spear fisherman. I said, when you're spearing fish, aren't you worried about the sharks? He says, yeah, sharks are there, but when they come in, I get my fish and get out of the water.
Good thinking. McManus over the middle. Robert Gordon has the catch, a first down to the BC 52-yard line. Frank Pimisker up to help make the stop, and Gordon is a little shaken up as he goes back to the huddle. Just announcing now that Gordon on this day has gone over 1,000 yards receiving. And look at what Danny McManus has done today. He really hasn't focused in on any one receiver, although Gordon is having a pretty good day. Here's Burse again on first down, and look at him go. Oh! Runs into Johnny Scott, and Tony Burse close to another first down, a gain of 9.
Joe Fleming, you see 76 was getting up there late. He was on the line of scrimmage on the play. So Joe Fleming ended up 10 yards back with Tony Burse around Tony Burse's ankles. Joe Fleming is a big guy. He's 280 pounds, 6'3". Tony Burse took him about 10 yards there.
Second and a yard. The toss to Eric Blunt. And Blunt gets around Leonard Humphreys and has another Edmonton first down as he goes out of bounds inside the 40. Boy, you kind of wonder sometimes which Edmonton Eskimo team you're watching. Like, you see them against Calgary in the overtime game. Looked awful in the first half, come back. And then you see them in a game like this, and you say, this is the team that went 1-4 in September?
Yeah, and then, of course, last week they put a running game together, had 145 yards out of Eric Blunt against Winnipeg, but Danny McManus only completed 8 passes in the game. Now, the weather conditions were pretty bad in Winnipeg, but it is up and down team.
Here's Blunt. Beats the first wave, and Blunt gets down to the 30-yard line for a gain of 8.
Now, on the other side of the coin, Gord, you got the BC Lions who, you know, all year we've been talking about the Lions with all their talent, and yet they can't find any level of consistency. And Adam Rita has a real short period of time now. He can still finish in second place, even with the loss this afternoon. If he beats Calgary in the last game of the year and Saskatchewan loses one of their 2 games, he gets second place.
You talk about home field advantage for Edmonton, maybe more than BC. They got a game in that dome. Here's Blunt again, and this time he stacked up. Dave Chaters got in there and got some help. And that'll leave Eric Blunt short of a first down.
But which team is going to show up for Adam Rita again? And that's what we're talking about. Chaters, who's a real important part of this defense, is back in the lineup at about 80%, and they need him 100%, but he's only one piece of the puzzle, and the BC Lions haven't been able to put that puzzle together consistently all year, and Adam Rita doesn't have much time to do it, and he's hoping that John Huffnagel will help him offensively, but still, he's got a lot of work to do and not much time to do it in.
You got to think that Edmonton will clinch first place, and that means that the rest of the Western Division standings could hinge on Jeff Garcia's elbow. And the question of whether or not he's going to be able to play.
Boy, you think about that game, Calgary looked very average without Jeff Garcia in the lineup.
This field goal try comes from 38 yards out. Sean Fleming puts it up, and it is good. The Eskimos with a 38-7 lead. 6 minutes and 51 seconds away from first place in the West. You know what? I'm going to get killed for that.
For what?
That shot of Ron Lancaster looking like he had a heartburn. His daughter Alana in Regina is watching and making notes, and she's going to make a note of that and call me.
Well, why are you in trouble for it?
Because I'm the one she talks to.
Okay.
David Allen's in trouble. Big time. Gets away. Trying to find somebody, anybody. And finally, Bruce Dixon forces him out of bounds.
That's been the story for David Allen all day. When he's had time to throw, there's been no one open downfield. Good coverage by the secondary from the Edmonton Eskimos. And then, of course, they've also provided some pressure on them throughout this game. It's been a rough day for number 9.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Edmonton number 10. First down.
First down for the Lions. By the way, I'm also going to get in trouble for saying I was in trouble. Her name's Lana, not Alana. So sorry, Lana. Wolf. I'm never going to Regina again.
Can we get back to the game here?
You know what? I might just sit down and not say anything for the rest of the game just to avoid getting in trouble. Just curl up in the fetal position and try to avoid any more problems. You got to think that Lancaster will smile after the game.
Well, you'd hope so.
Allen under pressure. And he's sacked by Melvin, the big game hunter.
Yeah, defensively, right now at this point in the game, you start to think about stats. And this is a team game, no question about it. But I'm going to tell you honestly, guys start thinking he's going to come right from the top of the line here and just the one-on-one move up at the top. But this is the point in the game where he's working on Todd Furtick. You start thinking about stats, and this is another one for Melvin Hunter.
I love the story about you in the Western Final here in '89 when you dropped the interception late. Somebody said, "Hey man, that would have been a stat."
It was Tom Richards. You'd have had 2 interceptions in this game, and by that time I was going nuts. We actually beat Edmonton here, but
here's Allen under pressure again and dropped again. That time Leroy Blue.
So one for Melvin Hunter, one for Blue,
and a flex too.
They get to do their dance, they get to do their flexing, and they get one more for the book.
And mercifully for the Lions, the punting unit takes the field.
Well, it's good, tenacious pass rush from Leroy Blue, who initially was taken out of the play by Chuck Bradley, but kept working, and because of the coverage downfield again, had a second chance at Damon Allen.
Caravana hangs it up high for the Gizmo at his own 43-yard line, and Nick Richards almost got him, and then Gizmo goes down to the 37-yard line. A return of a couple. So the Edmonton Eskimos will have the election desk declare them the winners of this game.
Yeah, they're first place. So
they've clinched first. Now
they're 2 home games away from Grey Cup championship.
Now BC will drop to 8-9. Calgary at 9-8, and Saskatchewan at 7-9. Now Calgary and BC play next week.
Now here's the scenario. Okay. Saskatchewan plays Winnipeg, and they play Hamilton.
And they're losing to Hamilton 16-13 in the 4th.
Okay, they lose one of those games. BC beats Calgary last game of the season. BC has 2nd, Calgary 3rd.
Jimmy Kemp into the game for Edmonton, delivers to Darren Flutie over the middle. And Flutie down to the BC 48-yard line. You better finish that because I'm confused.
Okay, so here's how it works. So Saskatchewan's losing to Hamilton right now. Let's say they lose that game to Hamilton.
7-10.
So now BC beats Calgary. BC plays Calgary last game of the regular season. Yeah. If they win that game, they get 2nd, Calgary 3rd, Saskatchewan goes to the eastern side. If Saskatchewan comes back and wins, and BC beats Calgary, Saskatchewan wins both games, they get 2nd because they have the series on the Lions. Calgary would be pushed to 4th. You with me so far?
No. Actually, no.
Okay.
But there'd be a 3-way tie at 9-9 is what you're saying.
Yeah. Saskatchewan has the record on BC. BC has the season series on Calgary, but not on Saskatchewan. So.
Wow.
And basically, we have both games.
Okay.
You're going to see them both, and by the end of the second one on Sunday, BC at Calgary, we'll have it all straightened out for you.
Okay.
And the West will be straightened out.
I have a headache.
Oh, boy.
2nd down, Jimmy Kemp gives it off to Eric Blunt. Blunt with a good run. Around the corner he goes, tiptoes up the sidelines, and pushed out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. So Edmonton clicking on all cylinders today. Danny McManus playing well, Eric Blunt running well, defense playing well, and the Grey Cup's a month away.
And he knows he has 2 home games to have a ring on his finger.
Well, what's interesting is the last team to win the Grey Cup at home was the BC Lions in 1994, but the Lions won 2 road playoff games under Danny McManus to get there.
Yeah.
Not since 1977 has a team won the Grey Cup, winning 2 playoff games at home.
Where do you come up with this stuff?
I have no life. Jimmy Kemp over the middle. Darren Flutie almost made the catch for a touchdown. And we've reached the 3-minute warning in Edmonton. The CFL Live on TSN returns to Commonwealth Stadium right after this. The game story is all Edmonton. 34 unanswered points, 370 yards passing for Danny McManus. What, you drew a canoe there?
No, I underlined unanswered because I'm going to answer it for you. Here's the answer.
Oh, okay.
A good game from him.
Oh, good.
There.
Nice. Little
I just
canoe.
wanted to play there.
A little canoe.
Yeah.
Good. Playoffs are coming. You better work on that.
Well, I answered the question. Unanswered points.
Actually, you're doing the Grey Cup on TSN Radio. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
I can tell it straight my heart out on Grey Cup Radio.
Go wild. And Danny McManus has done that.
He put a good game plan together with the coaching staff in Edmonton, and he's executed it perfectly.
McManus over 4,000 yards passing now on the season. Gets it done. You can say what you want about interceptions and whatever else. Danny McManus gets the job done. And now looks on as Jimmy Kemp mops up for Edmonton on 2nd and 10. Kemp had a miserable day against BC in a 27-1 loss, starting in place of McManus, and that's a one-hopper. Looking over there for Andre Bolduc.
Yeah, he had some problems, but he's actually 2-1 as a starter for the Edmonton Eskimos. Had a great game in the rematch versus Calgary, the Labor Day rematch versus Calgary Stampeders, and most people expected Calgary to sweep that series, and Jimmy Kemp had a good game. And
coming off a heartbreaking loss this week, by the way, in the team golf tournament. Kemp, who was allegedly the best golfer on the team, was beaten by Darren Flutie, and Flutie won the prize, the spot in the box at the Edmonton Oilers game on Wednesday night.
I don't know if you're a receiver, you want to beat your quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or not.
In golf.
Sean Fleming puts the field goal up and good, and the Edmonton Eskimos are now over 40. 41-7 now the score with 2:36 to play. This has been, with emphasis, the Edmonton Eskimos avenging 2 losses earlier to the BC Lions.
Yeah. Revenge for this defense. Adam Reed has sort of had his way offensively against Edmonton in 2 previous games, but not today. The Edmonton defense shut the door on his offense, and Adam Reed had watched receivers downfield not getting open, pressure on his quarterback, and he'll give Julio Caravetta a chance.
Caravetta seeing action in his 5th game of the year. Hits Shalon Baker, who was hit immediately by Malcolm Frank. And a gain of about 5 for Shalon Baker. Actually, mark it down as 7. Coming up in about an hour's time, game 2 of the '97 World Series. The Cleveland Indians against the Florida Marlins.
Okay, sports guy. Florida's up 1-0. Who do you like? You're not making a prediction on that one?
I like the Tribe tonight.
Okay.
I like the Indians tonight. Don't like teams that start 39-year-old pitchers in the opening game of the World Series. It should be a great series, though, and a lot of interesting decisions to be made by the 2 managers and interesting matchups. Well, the American League and National League Championship Series were great, too. Caravetta over for Trevathan. Trevathan bottled up by Derek Beatty, and he'll be short of a first down. You know what I like about the baseball playoffs this year? The same thing I like about this game, being played on grass.
Oh, yeah.
No AstroTurf for the postseason, except for Seattle. But it's always better when it's played on the natural grass.
Oh, absolutely. And you know it's going to be frozen in November, and Willie Pless will be likely making tackles.
And wearing shorts at practice just to intimidate people. Caravetta on 3rd down. Just slings a duck, and it falls harmlessly incomplete. Check that, it was 2nd down. That'll bring up 3rd down for BC. And don't forget, coming up at the top of the clock, Rod Smith, who does everything at TSN but flipped the switch to put us on in the morning, will be on with the pregame show with Pat Tabler.
And does a nice job at it.
Yeah. Pat Tabler, who, by the way, leapt into a football prediction with me this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said the Cincinnati Bengals would win 10 games this year. They may not win 10 games in the next 10 years. So I get a steak dinner.
Oh.
How good is that?
Well, he might try and get you on a rematch on the rest of this World Series.
No.
No?
Don't bet.
You're not going there?
I'm not going baseball with Pat Towler. He knows way more about it than I do.
Yeah, I guess.
He's got one of those World Series rings. Which, by the way, pales in comparison to your Saskatchewan Grey Cup ring. The license plate that you guys were awarded for winning the Grey Cup in 1989.
Well, let me tell you something. When you win it only over 100 years, they're big.
Got to celebrate, huh?
You make a big ring.
It's third down for the Lions right at midfield. Under 2 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter.
Guy knows a thing or two about Grey Cup rings is over there, and he's got to figure out how he's going to get one this year and get his team straight.
Caravetta on third down. Look out, he is sacked. Maurice Miller gets into the act. They're all hitting the stat sheet today.
Well, we talked about the stat, and you think in the back of your mind, you're thinking about stats, and you're thinking BC's got to throw the ball. Julio Caravetta is going to be in the back there in the pocket. So now it comes up, okay, best pass rush move. I'm going full speed. They run a draw. I'm dead. But who cares? I'm making the sack. And away they go.
Now, how well do you know your stats?
I don't think I'm not necessarily totaling them up.
How many career receptions do you have?
51. But
how many consecutive games did you play?
194. But I don't count them at all, like myself.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just curiosity. Jimmy Kemp back into the game for Edmonton on first down if the Lions turn it over on downs for the second time in the game. Gives it off to the backup tailback, Andre Bolduc. And Bolduc, who came over from the Ottawa Rough Riders, is dropped on the play by Nick Richards.
And, I just want to make one point about Maurice Kelly there, who makes the tackle. It always seems in game like this, when you're on the bad side of a lopsided score, it's always your best player that from start to finish is still throwing it in there and making plays. Maurice Kelly in this game, he's obviously down, but comes up and makes a tackle, and he has been the heart of that BC defense all year.
Loss of maybe a yard. It's second down. Kemp. He's got Tony Burse wide open, but wants to go somewhere else with it. And now Kemp will run. Aiming for the first down marker. He gets it down to the 32-yard line.
A couple of sweet little moves from Jimmy Kemp.
A pickup of 12 yards and an Edmonton first down.
That's one thing I noticed about his stats coming into this game is that he has a 7.2-yard rushing average this year, which, I mean, he's not known for his running ability. 7.2 yards is a Damon Allen, Tracy Ham kind of numbers for averages. Looked pretty good on that run.
First down from the 32-yard line. Kemp gives it off to Bolduc, fumbled the football, and it appears as though the Edmonton Eskimos do have it back. Well, there's a lot of credit to go around to people in Edmonton for years of consistency, but Hugh Campbell in his 12th year as the general manager certainly deserves the lion's share. He's got the big old, you know what that is?
What about that hat, though?
That's a recreation of the 1956 Edmonton Eskimo team hat, and they're selling them here. They're nice, eh? Big, heavy wool things.
That's gonna need the wool when it gets a little colder here.
Yeah, see, it's got Eskimos 56 on the back there.
Nice.
Yeah, those are nice.
That's a good deal. How do you get one of those? Who do you have to know to get one of those?
Him.
Oh.
Jimmy Kemp got whacked and almost got intercepted. I mean, Kemp got hammered by Maurice Kelly. And he's got to be thinking, at this stage in the game, that's just not worth it.
And again, Maurice Kelly still going hard. Comes up and hits Jimmy Kemp. Doesn't matter what the score is to him. Always seems to be the best players on your team that keep giving you this kind of effort. Kemp's going to take a hit.
Oof.
Yikes.
Yikes.
And
that's definitely going to leave a mark.
It's definitely going to leave a mark?
Yeah, for sure.
On his psyche or on his helmet?
I think on everything. Here's Bolduc on the carry.
Yeah.
Down to the 25, sure, like, give it off.
Yeah, so Kemp says, enough of that.
Just dish, baby.
Yeah.
Just dish. Edmonton turns it over on down, so the BC Lions will take over with 37 seconds left. And now Edmonton with an interesting problem, if you can call it that. Ron Lancaster was asked yesterday, what do you do if you win the game tomorrow? In the West. Do you give some guys some time off next week? The Eskimos go to Hamilton to play the Ticast. You maybe start Jimmy Kemp. Would you consider giving a guy like Darren Flutie the week off since he's got the bad ribs?
Well, I have a theory on that.
Oh, no. I was afraid of that.
And since you brought it up, I want to bring up my theory.
Okay.
I think you play your starters in the first half of that next game.
Yeah.
I think you play everyone so there's no rust. You let them go out, but you only play them maybe a half. In other words, Danny McManus plays a half and then you pull them out, maybe only a quarter and a half. Because I look at the game yesterday, Toronto and Calgary, and Doug Flutie still playing in the third quarter, and I'm starting to think, all it takes is to fall the wrong way and they lose their #1 guy. Ron Lancaster has to decide between getting a guy hurt possibly, but also having some rust built on him. Play him a little bit, but then get him off so he doesn't get hurt.
Spoken like a true veteran. Get your stats and go. Second down, Julio Caravana taking off. And Caravana hook slides down to the 45-yard line. 25 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. Then the Eskimos would get a week off. So the thing is, if you spell your guys next week, they wouldn't play for 3 weeks.
Yeah, but, I think with Edmonton and a lot of teams, that may hurt a little bit more than the Edmonton Eskimos. This is a veteran ball club, knows how to keep in shape, stay sharp in practice, knows how to prepare.
Look out. That pass complete to Shalon Baker, and Kavis Reed calling his name out for the first time today, and that's a compliment to Kavis Reed. That doesn't mean he's not doing his job. In fact, when you don't say the corner's name a lot, it means he is. They just don't throw to his side.
If I'm picking all-stars, Kavis Reed is on my team.
You've just picked 7 all-star defensive backs. You're going to have to limit it down to 5.
Well, a lot of my defensive backs can play receiver, can't they? I like to have a lot of DBs on my all-star team.
You're going to play a dime defense, are you? 7 DBs, 6 linebackers. That's 13 guys, Glenn.
Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Final play of the game, and the catch is made by Nick Mazzoli, and the Edmonton Eskimos have finished first in the West once again. For the 7th consecutive year, there'll be a home playoff game in Edmonton. It will be the Western Final the week before the Grey Cup, November the 9th. And the Edmonton Eskimos, by winning 2 more home games, can capture the Grey Cup as Ron Lancaster and his old assistant Adam Rita shake hands, and their teams are in much different situations.
Well, on the other side of the coin, it's a long way to go for Adam Reid and the BC Lions, who could still finish as good as 2nd and as poorly as 4th and go to the Eastern Division for the playoffs. So Adam Rita still has a lot of work to do with the BC Lions.
Let's go to the sidelines and Ken Chillibeck and the man with that nice hat, Hugh Campbell.
Yeah, Gord has been talking about your nice hat here. With just a little bit of information on it. It's a little different. Looks old, but it's new, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from, I can't remember, is it 54 here? 56. So I figured that's one of the years that's up on the wall, so I thought I'd take a chance and try it out. But it's
nice little souvenir.
Yeah.
Talk about the win today. A big win. You guys needed it, of course, to wrap up first place.
Yeah, BC had beaten us a couple of times, and we certainly came in uncertain, but guys played real well. I think Ronnie and his coaches and all the players deserve full credit to take this team to first place. I don't think any media person picked us for first place, and even we were hoping just to get in the playoffs, so it's been a good year for us to this point.
What about home field advantage? What does that mean for your team, do you think?
Well, I've always preferred it myself, but I've never been able to get it much lately. So we'll just have to wait and see. You don't know. I don't know. The 2nd place and 3rd place teams have gone to the Grey Cup more than first lately, but back when I was coaching, it was a good deal, so we'll see if we can start another trend. It's tough. These Western teams, 4 teams, very evenly matched. Whichever one goes to the East will be a good representative back there, too.
And, of course, you want to be here on the 16th.
It should be a good deal. We'd like to be here. Either way, the Grey Cup's going to be a fantastic game. Whichever team represents the West is going to be a good football team, and Toronto's certainly been awesome all year, but you never know on one game. The ball's shaped kind of funny. Who knows what'll happen.
Hugh Campbell, thank you very much. Gord, back to you.
Come to think of it, that ball is shaped kind of funny. I never really thought about that. Ron Lancaster and Julio Caravana talking on the way off. Maybe they'll meet again on November the 9th. Edmonton with a 41-7 win. Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Apple Auto Glass. And it comes when Robert Gordon runs a great route, and Danny McManus makes an even better throw. Threading the needle, this set up a Tony Burst touchdown, and it's the TSN Turning Point. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Apple Auto Glass. Guaranteed the pick of the crop by over 120 dealers from coast to coast. Edmonton beats BC 41-7. Back with more from Commonwealth Stadium right after this. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, and joining us is Danny McManus, the quarterback of the team that now has home field advantage in the West Division Final, November 9th. Danny McManus, congratulations very much. Congratulations. What was the key to beating a team that was 2-0 against you coming in?
I just think this week, compared to last times we played them, offensive line did a great job with their pass rush. And then when I had the opportunity to throw the ball downfield, Darren, Eddie, Donnie, and Robert making some great catches. There's a lot of balls I shouldn't have thrown today, but they came out with some good catches.
Danny, you really spread the ball around well today. What were they doing defensively that made it look like pitch and catch for you all afternoon?
They were doing the same stuff they normally done throughout the season. It just we were putting guys in motion, flooding one area, and it just seemed to work out. They were a little confused because we've never done that before, and it was a great game plan by RD. He put that in the beginning of the week just with a lot of movement and make those guys talk instead of just reading and reacting.
Danny, now the Eskimos have an interesting situation. You play in Hamilton next week. That game is meaningless for you. From your perspective, would you like to play a little bit, play the whole way, get the week off? What would you prefer?
I'll do whatever Coach Lancaster wants me to do. I think with the week off, because we got the bye, I'd rather get it in there, get some game action, because we're already going to have the week off already. Now, if I go ahead and take 2 weeks off, what's going to happen in the final when it's minus 20 and the snow's coming down? I like to get a little action in before then.
How big is it to have home field now?
Oh, I think it's real big. You never know what the weather's going to be here, and we get a chance to practice in it all week, and then the team that comes in here only gets it for 1 day. So it could be snowing, it could be like this, but I just think the guys have really focused on getting that first round bye, and it came true today.
Danny, if there's one thing people have talked about with Edmonton, it's the running game. Last week, Eric Blunt had 145 yards rushing, but the running game has been inconsistent. How important to get that going into the playoffs?
I think it's real important. Last couple of weeks have probably been our two best games as far as running the ball. And Eric's been real focused, not only in practice but in the game. When he's talking to me, I know something's going on because he normally doesn't say a word. So he was pretty excited today. And then, of course, we got Tony back there. And when Tony's back there getting the guys fired up, it helps the offensive line out.
Danny, thanks very much. Congratulations.
All right, thank you, guys.
Danny McManus, the winning quarterback today, and the Edmonton Eskimos are off to the Western Final. Back with more on the CFL Live after this.
Here are your updated standings in the CFL West. Saskatchewan, by the way, has just won. The Green Riders improved to 8-9. They, too, have a shot at second place in the West. Of course, Edmonton now just 2 home wins away from winning the Grey Cup title. Coming up next, in the CFL, that is, Friday Night Football. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, big game for them against the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. Next Friday night at Winnipeg Stadium, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Coming up, Pat Tabler and I will be back for Game 2 of the '97 World Series. Florida taking the initiative after last night's victory. Ronnie Lancaster victorious, and the first place Edmonton Eskimos in the West will have the bye for the Western Final. Thanks for watching, everybody.